Chapter 2147. Lu Yun was at the tribulation of the 5 emperors. His soul power was very strong. When Night Sorrow's 4 teams surrounded him, he sensed it. He knew that his worries had come true. Something had happened to Lu Xing. Now, people from the celestial realm were charging over. After giving the order to prepare for battle, Lu Yun soared into the sky and looked in the direction of the 4 teams. When he saw Night Sorrow, he knew that Night Sorrow was the commander. First of all, he knew what Night Sorrow looked like from the report of the Meteor Legion's commander. In addition, Night Sorrow led the fewest people and was in the middle. He was in the leading position. When Night Sorrow probed Lu Yun, he knew that something had happened. He didn't expect a second tribulation of the 5 emperors cultivator to appear. Great Demon King, another tribulation of the 5 emperors cultivator has appeared. I'll take care of this iron plate. Lead the brothers, Night Sorrow shouted to the Great Demon King beside him. Alliance Master, why don't I do it? At that moment, the Great Demon King also knew the situation. Lu Yun's cultivation was obvious. You're the main body. You can't take the risk. Fortunately, you're here. You can help me lead the team. I had to sneak attack the last guy because his subordinates interfered. This time, I don't have any worries. Let's fight head on. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid. His heart was filled with fighting spirit. All right. The Great Demon King nodded heavily. Night Sorrow waved his right arm and the blood-Chilan evil vanquishing spear rose into the sky. He looked at Lu Yun. Neither of them cared about the battle below. Where's Lu Xing? Lu Yun waved his right arm and a long sword appeared in his hand. I killed him, Night Sorrow said. You killed him? Shameless boasting. Lu Yun snorted coldly. Before the Emperor's tribulation, there were many geniuses who could kill opponents above their level. However, after the Emperor's tribulation, it was very difficult to fight opponents above their level, let alone kill opponents above their level. Night Sorrow said that he had killed Lu Xing, but Lu Yun didn't believe him because there was a 2-level difference between them. It was already good enough that he hadn't been killed. It was impossible for him to kill Lu Xing. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He took out Meteor's crystal core with his left hand and showed it to Lu Yun before putting it away. It hadn't been long since the meteor fell. The crystal core still had his aura, so Lu Yun could naturally tell. Night Sorrow was using facts to speak. It was also a psychological battle. He wanted Lu Yun to know that he could kill a cultivator from the 5 sovereign tribulation. Damn it! Flowing Cloud cursed. Just as Night Sorrow had expected, after seeing Meteor's crystal core, Flowing Cloud couldn't remain calm. The furious Flowing Cloud attacked. He released his Dao domain and brandished his sword. He released his sword beam and slashed at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow used void steps and dodged Flowing Cloud's sword beam attack. He also noticed Flowing Cloud's situation. Flowing Cloud's Dao domain was a fused Dao domain. It was a fusion of multiple attributes with the death attribute as the main element. Seeing Night Sorrow dodge, Flowing Cloud quickly slashed out with his sword. Sword beams slashed at Night Sorrow, one after another. The sword momentum was endless. Night Sorrow didn't counterattack. He wouldn't fight Flowing Cloud head-on. His cultivation level was low. No matter how domineering his energy was, he was at an absolute disadvantage in terms of numbers. This was an unavoidable fact. Seeing Night Sorrow dodge, Flowing Cloud's sword beams became denser, forming a sword beam net that attacked Night Sorrow. Unable to dodge, Night Sorrow used Space-Time Realm. His body flickered as the sword beams flew over. He didn't suffer any damage. Flowing Cloud's sword beams were sharp, but they didn't cause much of an impact on the void turbulence and alternate spaces. Therefore, they were ineffective against Night Sorrow. Seeing that the sword beams were ineffective, Flowing Cloud knew that Night Sorrow's defensive technique was powerful. However, his sword technique had changed. It carried a unique Dao charm that caused space to tremble when it was released. Night Sorrow retreated. At the same time, he understood that the sword beams Flowing Cloud released had already caused damage to the void turbulence and alternate spaces. It wasn't an ordinary sword beam, but an ultimate sword technique. Taboo Primordial Dao Domain. Night Sorrow released his Taboo Primordial Dao Domain in all directions. He wanted to melt Flowing Cloud's sword beams and weaken their might. This way, Flowing Cloud's sword beams would be weakened and wouldn't break through his spacetime realm. Night Sorrow wanted to test Flowing Cloud's strength and find an opportunity to counterattack. He wouldn't easily counterattack. When he counterattacked, he had to pose a threat to Flowing Cloud. It had to be fatal. Night Sorrow's movement technique was fast. With the Taboo Primordial Dao Domain's melting ability, Flowing Cloud's attack didn't cause much damage to Night Sorrow. When Night Sorrow dodged the attack, he retreated to the sky above the battle. He had been watching the battle the entire time. The 4 teams under Night Sorrow slaughtered the Meteor Legion's soldiers and chased them away. The Meteor Legion had many people, but their combat strength was inferior to Night Sorrow's men. It had to be known that the strength of the leaders under Night Sorrow's command was very high. Puyo was at the 4 Emperor Tribulation, Lin Piaomiao and the Great Demon King were at the 3 Emperor Tribulation, Yu Zhu was at the 2 Emperor Tribulation, and Fen Tian was at the 1 Emperor Tribulation. As for the Meteor Legion, most of their cultivators had been killed by Night Sorrow. The remaining cultivators were at most at the 1 Emperor Tribulation, so they couldn't fight against these people. In terms of the combat strength of ordinary soldiers, Night Sorrow's men had the help of a joint attack formation. Trapping the Meteor Legion's warriors was a massacre. The main thing was that the Meteor Legion's morale was already gone. Now, they could only retreat and run. Lu Xing was very annoyed. Night Sorrow was like a loach. His attacks didn't have much effect. In addition, Night Sorrow's speed was also fast. He couldn't catch him. At this moment, he also understood why Lu Xing called him over. He wanted to form a blockade and deal with Night Sorrow. Energy attacks didn't have much damage. Smoke appeared on Flowing Cloud's sword beams. He had added a soul attack into his sword technique. 5 Yong Y Jiu XV Phi W look at Z little z, say Night Sorrow countered every move he made. He powered the 9 regions' origin beads and protected his divine C, blocking Lu Yun's soul attack. Trash. Seeing that Night Sorrow was only dodging and not retaliating, Flowing Cloud, who had no solution, cursed. Then, he looked down at the battlefield and stared at Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao's killing power in the battle with the Drifting Cloud Legion was extremely high. Her direct combat strength was strong, and the cultivation level of the tribulation of the 3 sovereigns suppressed the soldiers of the Drifting Cloud Legion. Therefore, anyone who was targeted by her would definitely die. Since he couldn't deal with Night Sorrow, Flowing Cloud wanted to deal with Lin Piaomiao. The main reason was that he was helpless against Night Sorrow's movement and defense. Noticing Flowing Cloud's gaze, Night Sorrow knew that he had to retaliate. If he didn't retaliate, Flowing Cloud would change targets. Then, those targeted by Flowing Cloud would be in danger. After retracting his Primordial Dao Domain, Night Sorrow activated his Karmic Cycle Dao Domain and pressed down on the river basin. Then, he used Spatial Rend and Soul Annihilation slash at Lu Yun. Oh! Lu Yun's wandering gaze returned. He noticed Night Sorrow and felt the suppression. Night Sorrow's Imperial Lord level power of merit increased his combat strength by at least 30%. In addition, with the domineering Samsara attribute, Lu Yun's domain had been suppressed to the point of shrinking back to his side. After switching Dao domains, Night Sorrow used Soul Annihilation slash and Spatial Rend, using his Blood Qilin Evil Vanquishing Spear to execute the true Reincarnation Dragon art. He charged at Lu Yun. Chapter 2148. The suppression of his Dao domain caused Ling Yun's expression to change. This situation was too shocking. His sure cultivation was 20% higher than Night Sorrow's, so his Dao domain was 20% deeper than Night Sorrow's. However, he was now completely suppressed. He was suppressed to the point that his Dao domain was reduced to a protective barrier. Just as Lu Yun was feeling surprised, Night Sorrow's spatial rift restricted his movements. Following that, soul annihilation slashed at him. Lu Yun's body trembled as he used his Dao domain to protect himself with his soul power. He naturally knew that the crescent blade, which was half a person tall, was a soul attack. Night Sorrow's soul annihilation was blocked by Lu Yun's soul defense. However, soul annihilation didn't just have the effect of killing. It also had the effect of causing illusions and other negative effects. While Lu Yun was affected by the illusions, Night Sorrow's true Samsara dragon art attack arrived. Due to the illusions, the power of Lu Yun's sword technique decreased. His speed and attack strength were not enough. After blocking Night Sorrow's blood chill and evil vanquishing spear, his body was sent flying by the Samsara energy. His arms trembled uncontrollably. Night Sorrow's body was very strong. It was not something Lu Yun could withstand. After suppressing Lu Yun with a full-powered attack, Night Sorrow used Spatial Rift and Soul Annihilation again. His left hand also struck out with Samsara Heaven Covering Hand to suppress Lu Yun. Then, he used Void Steps and the True Destruction Dragon Art to attack Lu Yun again. At that moment, Lu Yun knew how terrifying Night Sorrow was. He also knew the reason for Lu Xing's fall. Night Sorrow had the ability to fight and kill a 5 Sovereigns Tribulation Cultivator. Night Sorrow, who was attacking at full strength, completely suppressed Lu Yun. Wave after wave of ferocious attacks kept injecting Samsara energy into Lu Yun's body, destroying it. Lu Yun felt fear in his heart. Night Sorrow's energy that had invaded his body was very stubborn. He couldn't suppress it and kept destroying his body, causing him to be able to control less and less energy. His combat power was also decreasing. I have to leave. Lu Yun knew that if this continued, he would end up like Lu Xing, killed by Night Sorrow. With the intention of retreating, Flowing Cloud flashed and was about to leave Night Sorrow's attack range. Flowing Cloud wanted to leave, but Night Sorrow naturally wasn't willing. He had to eat the big fish in his mouth. Night Sorrow alternated between executing Void Steps and Spatial Realm, constantly intercepting and attacking Lu Yun. He also pushed his Karmic Taboo, Samsara Dao domain to its limits, suppressing Lu Yun's strength and speed. Damn it! Flowing Cloud realized that after suffering a blow, his strength was inferior to Night Sorrow's, be it in terms of attack strength or speed. You're the one who deserves to die now. If you want to fight, I'll fight with you. Night Sorrow's attacks came wave after wave, constantly weakening Flowing Cloud's strength. As the battle continued, Lu Yun's condition became worse and worse. He had already been shot, and a portion of his meridians had been destroyed. Lu Yun knew that he couldn't take it anymore. If this continued, he would definitely die. After some thought, Lu Yun began to circulate the energy in his body. He wanted to self-destruct and leave his soul to survive. Night Sorrow discovered Lu Yun's intentions, but he couldn't suppress it. At that moment, Lu Yun still had nearly half of his energy left. With a violent boom, Lu Yun self-destructed. Following that, his soul flew out of his body. Night Sorrow couldn't withstand Lu Yun's self-destruction head-on. After releasing his Karmic Taboo, Samsara Dao domain to its limits, he used Spatial Realm and shot out the Blood Chill and Evil Vanquishing Spear. Lu Yun's soul flew very quickly, but Night Sorrow's Blood Chill and Evil Vanquishing Spear was even faster. It directly pierced through Lu Yun's soul. The huge shockwave caused Lu Yun's soul to become unstable. At that moment, Night Sorrow appeared again. He used his Karmic Primordial Domain to suppress and melt Lu Yun's soul. The fire of merit wrapped around it and began burning it. MF. Without his weapon in hand, Night Sorrow casually took out Meteor's sword and used the Primordial Heavenly Sword art to cut and melt Lu Yun's soul. Lu Yun's soul kept struggling to fly, but he couldn't escape the wrapping and burning of the fire of merit. After being slashed a dozen times by Night Sorrow, he was completely annihilated. After collecting Lu Yun's battle spoils, Night Sorrow's body flickered. He ran thousands of miles away before taking back his Blood Chill and Evil Vanquishing Spear. These thousands of miles were within the range of his soul power. Moreover, the blood-shielded evil vanquishing spear was a weapon that recognized its master. It couldn't be lost. After returning, Night Sorrow didn't attack again. He just watched. At present, his subordinates had an absolute advantage. They drove the meteor core toward the formation area and killed them. When the members of the Heaven Wasteland Army, the Humanitarian League, and the God-slaying teams saw Night Sorrow in the sky, they felt relieved. They knew that Night Sorrow had killed the strongest member of the meteor core. Pu Luo, the Alliance Master's strength is too terrifying, Ruisi said after killing an Emperor Tribulation cultivator. Yes, a cultivator from the 5 Emperors Tribulation was killed in a short while. His potential is limitless, Pu Luo said as he fought. Why did all cultivators value combat strength and potential? Because it was related to the space for development. Take Night Sorrow as an example. After Night Sorrow cultivated to the tribulation of 7 emperors, he might be comparable to other cultivators who cultivated to the tribulation of 9 emperors. In this case, Night Sorrow still had 2 levels of room for improvement. But what about the cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors? They were already facing a bottleneck and had no room for improvement. They could only be surpassed and suppressed. In the chase, the number of soldiers of the meteor core kept decreasing. When they were driven to the formation area, only half of the soldiers of the tribulation core were in the formation. Night Sorrow also landed on the ground. They're all trapped by the formation. Pu Luo came to Night Sorrow's side. Do you have to kill? Do you have to do it? Night Sorrow waved his hand and left. At this time, he was deeply touched. Who was guilty? No one was guilty. This was war. But Night Sorrow didn't want to slaughter the soldiers of the Tribulation Corps who didn't have the power to fight back. Night Sorrow, who was touched, had an epiphany in his heart. He understood what the Taoist heart was and also knew the way to go. He had to prove the Taoist heart with the human heart and prove the Taoist heart with the heaven's heart. Night Sorrow went to the encampment of the formation area and meditated. He didn't want to see what happened next. Those were the cruel killings brought about by war. 3 days later, the war was over. The meteor core disappeared as if they had never appeared in front of everyone. Night Sorrow, their existence is a tribulation. Fighting with us is the meaning of their existence. So don't feel guilty. Lin Piaomiao and Pu Luo appeared beside Night Sorrow. No. Although I don't want to face it, I won't feel any pressure because of it. These things made me understand one thing, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Chapter 2149. The origin of the Tribulation Realm was in the deepest part of the Tribulation Realm, the Spirit Abyss, which was also where Spirit's sovereign Black Spirit cultivated. 3 legions. Now that we've eliminated one, there are still 2 legions and one of the 3 commanders. That means we've eliminated 1/3 of the forces other than Spirit's sovereign Black Spirit, Night Sorrow said. That's right. Currently, at the entrance of the space passage, the ones fighting with the rest of the people from the Heaven Realm are the Black Iron Army. Their commander is Black Iron. As for how many protectors went over, I don't know. There's also the Fire Dance Corps. The Fire Dance Corps is on their way to the Heaven Realm. Do you know the specific route? Night Sorrow asked Lin Piaomiao. Yes, Night Sorrow bewitched a high-level commander, so I know more about it. Of the 3 legions in the Tribulation Realm, the Black Iron Legion was the first to assemble and set off. They're also at the entrance of the spatial passage. Next is the Meteor Legion. When the Meteor Legion set off, the Fire Dance Corps was still assembling. We should be able to stop them, Lin Piaomiao told Night Sorrow the details. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that they had to stop the Fire Dance Corps. If the Fire Dance Corps and the Black Iron Legion met, they would be a great threat to the spatial passage. After all, they were both high-level legions with terrifying combat power. Even if the Azure Dragons, Ice Phoenixes, and Azure Rocks worked together, they might not be able to stop them. Therefore, stopping them in advance was the best solution. Night Sorrow ordered the team to rest for half a day. Then, he asked Night Sorrow to lead the way and intercept the Fire Dance Corps' route. Night Sorrow, the Fire Dance Corps' Legion commander, is a 5 Emperor Tribulation cultivator like Meteor. The Legion commander is also at the same level. We have to plan well to intercept them, Lin Piaomiao said. Night Sorrow smiled. I've accumulated some experience this time. The next battle won't be as passive as this one. As for the plan, I have some ideas. Night Sorrow explained his plan to Puyo and the Great Demon King. If the Fire Dance Corps was the same as the Meteor Corps, then the attack could continue. Night Sorrow still planned to hunt down the upper echelons of the Fire Dance Corps first, such as those who had undergone the First Emperor Tribulation and High-Level Emperor Tribulation. This would reduce the pressure on his subordinates during the official battle. Looks like I still need you to do more work. We can't do this kind of thing. After all, our speed and defensive skills are not good enough, the Great Demon King said. After killing some of their upper echelons, I'll try to ambush them and see if I have an opportunity to kill Commander Fire Dance. Of course, even if I don't have an opportunity, I still have to find one. Even if I have to lure her out, I still have to get rid of her. Night Sorrow explained the plan in detail. It wasn't complicated at all. It was just a replication of the previous war. Of course, this time, there were detailed steps. Yi Mei and White Meng Meng came. The two of them were holding a large map. The map was drawn by Yi Mei and White Meng Meng according to the situation in the commander's Divine Sea. After looking at the terrain, Night Sorrow pointed at an area. This is the best place to ambush on the route from the Spirit Abyss to the Spatial Passage. Let's wait there. The others nodded. They were very convinced by Night Sorrow's arrangements. The team rested. Night Sorrow checked Lu Yun's storage ring. After looking through it, Night Sorrow felt that this battle in the Tribulation Realm was a journey of opportunity. The resources he obtained were abundant. Night Sorrow had already obtained a lot of high-level spirit stones. Lu Xing and Lu Yun were both cultivators of the 5 Emperor Tribulation. They were the absolute upper echelons of the Tribulation Realm and had abundant resources. Night Sorrow had obtained more than 20,000 Monarch Spirit Stones and 2,000 Emperor Spirit Stones from the two of them. There were also Spirit Stones that surpassed Emperor Spirit Stones, but there were very few of them, only a dozen. A dozen ultra-top-grade Spirit Stones didn't sound like much, but Night Sorrow knew that they were very useful. These ultra-top-grade Spirit Stones could be used as the core of a formation to support a particularly powerful formation. He used Emperor Spirit Stones as the core of the formation to set up the unparalleled formation, which increased the power of the formation by a lot. In addition, Night Sorrow still had a lot of crystal cores in his hands. 2 of them were at the 5 Emperor Tribulation level and contained very rich energy. One had to know that in the past wars between the 100 races and the demon-winged race in the Celestial Realm, almost none of the cultivators above the 5 Emperor Tribulation were killed or had their crystal cores taken. After experiencing a few big battles, Night Sorrow found that his cultivation was much more solid and not superficial. After resting for half a day, Night Sorrow led the team forward. When they arrived at their destination, Night Sorrow had the team set up camp while he started to set up the formation with the Formation Master. Lin Piaomiao and Datura followed beside Night Sorrow and chatted with Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, Fire Dance is different from Lu Xing. She's a woman, and a sinister and cunning one at that. Don't fall for her tricks, Datura said to Night Sorrow. I'll be careful. This is war, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow also knew that female opponents were sometimes harder to deal with than male opponents. They were more meticulous and ruthless than men. Mo Tianji was an example. Night Sorrow chose a canyon to set up the formation area. If everything went smoothly, Night Sorrow would destroy the Fire Dance Corps in this canyon. After setting up the formation, Night Sorrow left. When he left, he took one of Lin Piaomiao's soul crystals. In the same situation as last time, Night Sorrow had to ask a few people for help. Night Sorrow explored the possible route of the Fire Dance Corps. When he found traces of a large group of people, Night Sorrow knew that the route was right. Those were the traces of the Black Iron Core and the Meteor Core. After finding a suitable place, Night Sorrow began to wait for the arrival of the Fire Dance Core. At the same time, he sensed his own situation. After the battle, the situation of the doppelganger would be fed back to the main body. The main body would deduce and study, remove the flaws of the battle skills, and perfect them. In the past period of time, Night Sorrow had deduced some new battle skills, such as Reincarnation Spatial Split, Void Spatial Split, Primordial Extreme Kill, Primordial Origin Kill, and so on. They were all deduced and needed to be tested in actual combat. After a few battles, the main body would continue to perfect them according to the situation. In addition, the increase in the power of virtue had greatly increased the power of Night Sorrow's virtuous immortal body. Night Sorrow knew about the war against the Fire Dance Core. It was the last battle he and his subordinates had in the Tribulation Realm. After this battle, they had destroyed 2 of the 3 major core. The Black Iron Core had only a few people left at the spatial passage. As for Black Spirit Supremacy, Night Sorrow knew that he was no match for him because he was a cultivator of the 8 Emperor Tribulation. It would be too easy to deal with him. Finding trouble with Black Spirit Supremacy and saving his life in front of Enchanting were 2 different matters. There was no comparison. Kmo/previous chapter H. Chapter 2150. Fire Dance appeared. When she discovered Night Sorrow also discovered them. Night Sorrow was a small target, and he had activated his leakless true body. Fire Dance discovered him late. The Fire Dance Core was a huge target, and Night Sorrow could easily discover them. Yishang's soul power shook violently and enveloped the Fire Dance Core. After probing, Yishang found that Fire Dance was the only one with the 5 Emperor Tribulation. He immediately picked up the Blood Shield and Evil Slaying Spear on his knees and rushed toward the Fire Dance Core in a flash. Night Sorrow felt that Fire Dance was not a threat to him. He could deal with her like how he dealt with the Meteor Core. Night Sorrow brandished his spear and rushed towards the army. Fire Dance, who was wearing fiery red armor, was stunned. She did not understand where this fool came from and wanted to commit suicide. Fire Dance raised her arm and stopped the army. Her soul power locked onto Night Sorrow. She wanted to see what Night Sorrow wanted to do. Without slowing down, Night Sorrow rushed towards the Fire Dance Core. He was getting closer and closer to Fire Dance. Jenksinzuo, hurry up and get on T. Fire Dance waved her right arm and pulled out a long sword that was hanging on her waist. The lower half of the sword extended to her knees. It was a long sword that was 6 feet long. Since Night Sorrow was rushing over, she naturally had to slash. However, Fire Dance's plan fell through. Night Sorrow did not give her the chance to slash. After approaching, Night Sorrow used Void Steps, Spacetime Realm, and Afterimage Body to break through Fire Dance's blockade. He entered the Fire Dance Core and started killing. The situation went according to Night Sorrow's plan. It was the same as when he fought the Meteor Core. Fire Dance chased from behind while he killed from the front. After killing for an hour, Night Sorrow's energy cultivation had increased by more than half. He used his speed to escape from Fire Dance's pursuit. After finding a safe place and entering the Clear Sky Pagoda, Night Sorrow ate some energy recovery pills and began to recover. The reason he used the resources this time was to make the best use of his time to recover so that he could proceed to the next battle as soon as possible. After failing to catch up to Night Sorrow, Fire Dance flew into a rage when she returned to the army. Her team had been completely annihilated. Due to the tribulation of 3 emperors, the army's upper echelons had suffered great losses. Some commanders and senior captains had been killed, and not even their mana cores were left behind. Bastard! You Legion commanders, listen up. If he comes again, don't hesitate. Even if you hurt your own people, you must stop him. Our Fire Dance Corps has been killed by a cultivator of the tribulation of 3 emperors. Do we still have any face left? Fire Dance battle armor's cape fluttered in the wind, and her face was as cold as frost. The other Legion commanders did not dare to utter a word. Fire Dance's temper was very violent, and no one dared to refute her words. Otherwise, they would be directly executed. With a 50-fold time acceleration and the use of medicinal pills, Night Sorrow recovered in an hour in the real world. After recovering, Night Sorrow once again attacked the Fire Dance Corps. Although Fire Dance had ordered them to stop him at all costs, Night Sorrow's attainments in movement techniques were too profound. He alternated between using void steps, space-time realm, and afterimage body, rendering Fire Dance and the other Legion commanders helpless. After fighting for an hour, Night Sorrow left once again. Fire Dance did not curse. She knew that the situation was very serious. The current situation was like a wolf staring at a flock of sheep, constantly attacking and retreating after a while. It was not easy to resolve. Fire Dance did not know how to deal with this. If she could not restrain Night Sorrow's speed, then she would not be able to do anything to Night Sorrow. However, how could she restrain Night Sorrow's speed? Night Sorrow had the space-time attribute and a movement technique. If he wanted to fight, he would fight. If he wanted to leave, he would leave. Fire Dance did not speak. She kept thinking. The other Legion commanders did not dare to speak. They did not dare to disturb Fire Dance's train of thought. The next time he comes, we can't let him kill us as he pleases and run away as he pleases. Tell the people below that whoever he kills, self-destruct. After thinking for a while, Fire Dance gave the order. Night Sorrow recovered quickly. After recovering, he attacked again. The battle started again. Night Sorrow found that the situation was not good. Whoever he wanted to kill, just as he rushed to the target's side, the target would self-destruct to injure him. Night Sorrow, who was not prepared at the beginning, almost suffered. Fortunately, he had the space-time realm. When his opponents self-destructed, he entered the space-time turbulence. Although he still suffered some of the energy impact, it was not serious or fatal. This happened several times in a row. Night Sorrow felt that this was not a bad thing. He used the void steps and attacked the higher cultivation. The self-destruction of experts was very destructive. His defensive technique could withstand the impact, but the other Emperor Realm cultivators and Emperor Realm cultivators would not be able to withstand it. In this way, Fire Dance's killing move became a muddle. After 2 Emperor Realm cultivators self-destructed under Night Sorrow's attack, Fire Dance shouted that they were not allowed to self-destruct anymore. If this continued, Night Sorrow did not need to kill them. The self-destruction of the high-level cultivators under her command would be enough to kill them. This time, Fire Dance was really angry. When Night Sorrow left, she roared and started to chase after him. She burned her blood essence to chase after him. Cultivators would only burn their blood essence as a last resort. This was because the damage to their blood essence was very difficult to recover from. In the army, Fire Dance used a secret technique. She could not be faster than Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow zigzagged back and forth. Even if she was fast, she could not attack Night Sorrow. Now that Night Sorrow had left the Fire Dance Corps, she had to keep Night Sorrow busy. Otherwise, if Night Sorrow went back and forth a few more times, the experts of the Fire Dance Corps would be wiped out. Fire Dance burned her blood essence and released her Dao domain to suppress Night Sorrow. Sharp sword chi flew back and forth in her Dao domain. It was her slaughter sword chi Dao domain. She could not execute her slaughter sword chi Dao domain while fighting inside the army. After all, she would cause a lot of collateral damage. Now that she had burned her blood essence to increase her speed, she caught up to Night Sorrow and used her ultimate technique to suppress him. Night Sorrow unleashed his Merit Primordial Dao domain, blocking and dissolving the suppression of Fire Dance's Slaughter Sword Chi Dao domain. Following which, Night Sorrow unleashed a spatial tear, slicing forward. He then executed void steps to flee. Night Sorrow knew that Fire Dance's current offensive power was extremely frightening. If the Slaughter Sword Chi Dao domain enveloped him, the situation would be dire. She tore open a path through space, and void steps and afterimage body worked in tandem to escape. When there was danger, Night Sorrow would use Space-Time Realm to evade Fire Dance's sword energy. With one fleeing and the other chasing, the two of them left the Fire Dance Corps' encampment. Run. Let's see how much energy you have left. Fire Dance's face was pale, devoid of blood. Although this was related to the burning of her blood essence, it was mainly due to her anger. Consuming energy is better than consuming blood essence. How much blood essence do you have to burn? Do you intend to burn all your blood essence and leave your body with your soul? Night Sorrow asked. I'll have to kill you first. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Fire Dance frowned. Night Sorrow's words had struck a chord in her heart. Although she wanted to consume energy, the price she had to pay was too heavy. As Night Sorrow ran ahead, he did not dare call for Lin Piaomiao and the others to help. Fire Dance's Dao domain was too sharp. Without a defensive ultimate technique, he could not block it. Must we fight to the death? Night Sorrow asked after executing void steps again to dodge Fire Dance's sword chi. Chapter 2151. Impossible. Night Sorrow dodged Fire Dance's attack. The pursuit continued. Night Sorrow did not retaliate. However, even if he did not retaliate, it was still a counterattack. He was using Fire Dance's own blood essence as a counterattack. Night Sorrow's movements were extraordinary. Since Fire Dance could not catch up to him, she kept cursing him. Naturally, Night Sorrow did not want to see this happen. Fire Dance, you are also a peak expert. You should understand that you need to speak with strength and reason. Cursing will only make others look down on you. Do I need you to think so highly of me? You are a bastard and trash. Fire Dance was furious at Night Sorrow's lecture. Fire Dance, you have to calm down. You know what's going on. This is a war between the world of tribulation and the world of tribulation. It's a war that only determines success or failure. There's no right or wrong. It's useless to scold me. Let's talk. Yi Shang corrected Fire Dance. What surprised Yi Shang was that Fire Dance actually stopped killing. Instead, she stopped. Coward. Didn't you want to talk? Why did you run so far? Fire Dance cursed as she watched Night Sorrow run away. Stop immediately. Even this won't stop. Can you put away your greatsword and talk? Night Sorrow stopped and turned to face Fire Dance as he spoke. What do you want to talk about? Fire Dance did not put away her greatsword. Instead, she pointed it behind her. Do you know your fate? Night Sorrow asked Fire Dance. Fate. If we win this war, I will decide my own fate. Fire Dance narrowed her eyes as she looked at Night Sorrow. At the same time, she continued to circulate her blood essence, calming the discomfort from burning her blood essence. She had stopped because she knew that even burning her blood essence would not do anything to Night Sorrow. There was no point in continuing the chase. What if we can't win? Do you know what happens to cultivators in the tribulation realm? They turn to ashes. Night Sorrow laughed. Winning or losing is not something you can decide. Do you think you can defeat Sovereign Wulingzuan? Wait until we defeat Sovereign Crow Spirit, then you can talk about being annihilated. Fire Dance exhaled. This was the turbid air that came from burning her blood essence. What would you say if Sovereign Crow Spirit lost in front of you? Night Sorrow asked Fire Dance. The winner is king, and the loser is a thief. If that's the case, then I have nothing to say. However, you should wait and see. You can talk big after Sovereign Wulingzuan loses. Fire Dance swung her greatsword again. Wait a moment before you make your move. Wulingzuan is in the tribulation of the 8 emperors. In the celestial realm, there are currently 2 giants in the syncretic spirit realm and 1 in the tribulation of the 9 emperors. No, there are 2. Do you think you can win? So if you behave now, you still have a chance. When Night Sorrow saw that Fire Dance wanted to fight again, he waved his hand and threw out 2 more sentences. If they could solve the problem without fighting, Night Sorrow felt that it would be best. The two tribulation of the 9 emperors that Night Sorrow mentioned were the Grand Elder and Mo Tianji. You're spouting nonsense. Why should I believe you? Besides, if we lose, we'll be annihilated. Is there a need for me to talk to you? Fire Dance laughed, and the destructive flames on her body began to burn. She planned to fight again. It would be best if she could kill Night Sorrow. If she couldn't, then she would retreat. There was no point in chasing after him. If you choose to submit, I can guarantee that you won't be annihilated. I can guarantee that you will live, just like the people of the celestial realm. Night Sorrow interrupted Fire Dance. Guarantee that I'll live? Fire Dance was stunned. That's right. As long as you stop harming the celestial realm, I can give you the life origin imprint of the new supreme world so that your life aura will be the same as ours. Of course, I can also let you see the fall of Wu Lingzuan with your own eyes, Night Sorrow said. Fire Dance fell silent. She was different from Lu Xing. She knew some secrets and knew the meaning of the tribulation realm's existence. She also knew that if they lost, then everything would be gone. Besides, as Night Sorrow said, with so many giants in the celestial realm, there was no way the tribulation realm could win. Then I want your promise. Swear a heavenly oath that the Fire Dance Corps will be able to survive after we withdraw from this war. We will have space to survive, Fire Dance said after hesitating for a while. That's impossible. Yi Shang immediately refused. If it's impossible, then what's the point of talking? Fire Dance did not expect Night Sorrow to reject her directly. What I want is to end the war with the least damage. I'm willing to talk about your problem, but I don't want the Fire Dance Corps. Night Sorrow stated the reason for his refusal. He did not want to have any hidden dangers. You want to get rid of me and then wipe out the Fire Dance Corps at the least cost. You want me to watch the Fire Dance Corps get killed by you? Is this your sincerity? Fire Dance was a little angry. You don't have to be agitated. I'm telling the truth. If I'm not sincere, I'll agree first and then deal with the Fire Dance Corps. I didn't agree because I don't make empty promises. What I say counts. Besides, do you think the Fire Dance Corps can do much? Night Sorrow said as he took out Lu Xing and Lu Yun's crystal cores and showed them to Fire Dance. Seeing Lu Xing and Lu Yun's crystal cores, Fire Dance was stunned. Her eyes were full of surprise. She was familiar with Lu Xing and Lu Yun and could naturally tell that they belonged to them. Lu Xing and Lu Yun are dead. The entire meteor core has been annihilated. Not a single one of them survived. If I'm not mistaken, even if the Black Iron Core is still fighting, they should have been wiped out by now. Night Sorrow showed Fire Dance the crystal core and put it away. Fire Dance did not speak. The facts were in front of her. Lu Xing and Lu Yun were dead. They were all 5 sovereign tribulation cultivators with the same cultivation as her. Even if there was a difference in combat strength, the difference would not be too big. After a moment of silence, Fire Dance looked at Night Sorrow and asked, if I continue to chase, will your hidden experts appear? That won't happen. Haha. I killed Lu Xing and Lu Yun. I've been running not because I'm afraid of you. Not fighting back doesn't mean that I don't have the ability. I have enough strength to kill you. After saying so, Night Sorrow activated his karmic merit domain. Following which, he executed Space Splitter and Soul Extinguishing / simultaneously. Following which, he used the true reincarnation dragon art enhanced by the power of virtue to bombard Fire Dance. Seeing Night Sorrow's attack, Fire Dance swung her sword at Night Sorrow. However, due to the impact of Soul Extinguishing / her sword energy attack was not able to display its full power. Under Night Sorrow's full-powered attack, coupled with the support of his physical strength and the power of virtue, she was sent flying. After being sent flying, shock filled Fire Dance's eyes. When she saw that Night Sorrow had stopped pursuing her, she was speechless. Night Sorrow's powerful attack had already injured her. If this continued, she felt that she would not be able to last much longer. I want to prove that I have the ability to deal with you. Moreover, your speed and movement technique are not as good as mine. You won't be able to escape. However, if we can talk, I'm still willing to talk, Knight Sorrow said as he swung his blood-chilling evil-slaying spear. I want the brothers of the Fire Dance Corps to live. This is my bottom line. In addition, I have to see Sovereign Crow Spirit die in battle before I can fulfill the conditions that we can discuss. Fire Dance's gaze towards Knight Sorrow changed. New Jersey forever. Forever. C. Little H. Speak. Chapter 2152. 4. I have 3 Legion commanders under me. I also have a junior sister who is the general manager. After hesitating for a moment, Fire Dance compromised. However, she wanted one more slot. 4 is not impossible. Then, I'll tell you the details. If the details are agreed upon, we'll stop fighting. If not, we'll pretend we never talked about it. Knight Sorrow put away the blood-chilling evil slayer spear and tossed a jar of wine to Fire Dance. Okay. Fire Dance also put away her greatsword. Next, Knight Sorrow asked Fire Dance if she knew what the virtuous sage and virtuous emperor were. Fire Dance nodded. She indeed knew about these things. Seeing that Fire Dance knew what he was doing, Knight Sorrow once again released his virtue energy for her to see. I am the virtuous emperor, the human sovereign of the 100 races of the celestial realm. I am telling you that my words are absolutely trustworthy. Do you understand? Knight Sorrow looked at Fire Dance. I knew you weren't simple. However, I didn't expect you to be an important figure in the celestial realm. I still understand the word human sovereign. Fire Dance nodded. Then, you should know that I will not do things against my will. When I negotiate with you, I will give you the most favorable conditions. I will not exploit you. Hence, there is almost no room for negotiation. Knight Sorrow revealed his strength and identity in order to have a better negotiation. Fire Dance nodded. After confirming Knight Sorrow's identity as a human sovereign, she knew that Knight Sorrow's words were trustworthy. Knight Sorrow gave Fire Dance the same conditions as Mo Tianji. The only difference was that in the war against the Demon Wing race, if Knight Sorrow needed her, she would have to fight. Is the 9-domain world the future supreme world? Fire Dance asked. Yes. I am also the realm lord of the 9-domain world. Hence, I must resolve all hidden dangers and control everything in my hands. Let alone you, even the cultivators of the tribulation of 9 sovereigns will receive the same treatment. Of course, in my heart, I will not discriminate. As long as everyone is well, I will treat everyone equally. Knight Sorrow nodded. Fire Dance did not raise any further conditions as she immediately agreed. After all, she understood that it was pointless to raise any more conditions. If Knight Sorrow said that this was his bottom line, then it was his bottom line. Alright, I'll wait for you here. Go arrange for the army to not move. I'll take you to the 9 regions world to take a look. Also, see if my friend is free. If she's free, I'll take her to deal with Sovereign Crow Spirit. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment before making the arrangements. Fire Dance left. She knew that Knight Sorrow wouldn't go so far as to trick her. If he did, she wouldn't be able to leave now. Knight Sorrow also fell into deep thought. He felt that if he could get rid of Fire Dance and the Fire Dance Corps' Legion commanders like this, it would be considered a good deed. It would also increase the strength of the Celestial Realm's 100 Races Alliance. A few hours later, Fire Dance returned with 2 Legion commanders and a woman. The Fire Dance Corps still needs someone to guard it, so we left a Corps commander behind, Fire Dance said to Knight Sorrow. They know about the situation, right? Knight Sorrow asked as he looked at the 3 people behind Fire Dance. Fire Dance nodded. She told her confidants everything she knew and what she had discussed with Knight Sorrow. Knowing about the existence of the calamity and the way out, Fire Dance's confidants supported her decision. Night Sorrow led the group to the encampment. After instructing Pu Luo, Lin Piaomiao, and the others to lead the team and not go out to battle for the time being, he entered the teleportation array and left with Fire Dance and her 3 subordinates. When they arrived at the entrance of the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow saw Huang Ling, Patriarch Azure Rock, and Long Yixing. These people aren't enemies for now. I'm taking them to do something. After saying that, Night Sorrow led Fire Dance and the others through the teleportation array. They passed through Tianhuang City, teleported to Star Moon City, and then to 9 Domain World. That was the Celestial Realm, the current Supreme World. However, it only has a lifespan of 1 era. After 1 era, it will become a secondary Supreme World. As for the world we are currently standing in, it has surpassed the level of a major world but has yet to reach the level of a Supreme World. In the future, it will become a Supreme World in 100,000 or 1 million years. If you accept the conditions, then you will be the people of this world, Night Sorrow said as he walked out of 9 Domain City's teleportation array. Is Milord in charge here? The woman in blue asked. She was Fire Dance's junior sister, Feng Wu, a cultivator of the second sovereign tribulation. Yes, I am the realm master here. I can prove it to you. Descend. Night Sorrow said after nodding to Feng Wu. Following Night Sorrow's words, the world's source energy descended and directly imprisoned Feng Wu. She could only move her eyes. After Night Sorrow released the restraints on Feng Wu, he smiled at the nervous people. Don't worry, you are guests this time, not enemies. Latest #chapter, Y section A2, thank you, milord. Fire Dance and the others bowed to Night Sorrow. They felt the aura of the 9 Domain World and also felt the strength of Night Sorrow. At the same time, they also proved the identity of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow did not use his own energy just now and controlled the world's source energy. Come, let's go have some tea and talk. Night Sorrow brought the few of them into the tea house that Shen Shen had opened for him and brewed a pot of tea. Senior sister, this world is really good. The energy aura is filled with vitality and it's very peaceful. Feng Wu was very excited. After pondering for a while, Fire Dance looked at Night Sorrow. Actually, we don't have to watch Black Spirit supremacy fall. As long as we can obtain the life origin imprint of this world, we can swear to the heavens that we will serve this world in the future. We won't care about the success or failure of this world. That's fine, but I have a suggestion. If you want to develop in a new world, then the fate of the new world is very important. If you can fight for the Celestial Realm's 100 races and the Celestial Realm and the 9 Domain World, you can obtain the fate of the heavens, which will be beneficial to your future. Of course, the decision is up to you. Night Sorrow smiled. Let's think about this again. Let's go according to the agreement now. Fire Dance said. Night Sorrow communicated with the World Origin body and directly took out 4 life origin imprints and gave them to Fire Dance and the others. Fire Dance and the others also knelt and swore. Marshal Uncle Tai Shu, arrange a place for them to stay. Fire Dance, will set off tonight. You still have to bring your Legion commander over. Night Sorrow said to Tai Shu Yen, who had rushed over, and then left. After leaving the tea house, Night Sorrow went to the pavilion at the side of the Heaven Ceiling Hall. That was Mo Tianji's spatial treasure, Origin Enlightened Treasure Tower. When he arrived in front of Origin Enlightened Treasure Tower, Night Sorrow controlled the energy and shook it slightly. If Mo Tianji was in deep seclusion, it would not affect anything. If it was ordinary comprehension cultivation, Mo Tianji would come out. While Night Sorrow was thinking, Mo Tianji, who had waist-length black hair and was wearing a white silk dress, appeared with a long sword in her right hand. Your aura is very deep and there's a biting cold battle intent on your body. You just fought not long ago, Mo Tianji said after sizing up Night Sorrow. Chapter 2153. What's going on? I won't get involved with the Demon Wing clan, Mo Tianji said. What are you thinking? I won't ask you about the Demon Wing clan. If it's not the Demon Wing clan, it's a giant from the Calamity Realm. You can go and kill it and we'll split the benefits. If you don't go, I'll have to find someone else, Night Sorrow said. That's true. According to the time, the Celestial Realm's apocalypse is about to arrive. I can go, but I don't understand why I have to kill it and we have to split the benefits. Mo Tianji sized up Night Sorrow. Let's be reasonable, right? I'm the one who asked for the job and provided the information. Can't I split half with you? Be content. Night Sorrow glanced at Mo Tianji. Okay, I'll take it and earn some luck for myself. As a person of the 9 domains world, I have to have some awareness. Besides, it's always good to have resources. I also know that you're giving me some opportunities by making this arrangement. Mo Tianji nodded with a smile. She knew that Night Sorrow had other choices. If Night Sorrow asked, the Tianhuang City Lord and King Wu would take it. You're a smart person. Okay, I'll come to you later. That guy's cultivation is at the 8th Emperor Tribulation. He's not as good as you. If he uses the Calamity Realm's origin to fight, then I also have the world's origin. If he has subordinates to help him, then I also have subordinates. I'll give you a battlefield with your own strength, Night Sorrow said. Haha. You should take half of the benefits. I'll listen to your arrangement. I'll wait for your news. Mo Tianji's body flashed and returned to the Origin Treasure Pavilion. After arranging everything, Yishan felt more at ease. The Fire Dance Core and the Black Iron Core had been dealt with. Now, he could directly go to the Spirit Abyss to kill Venerable Black Spirit. Once he dealt with Venerable Black Spirit, the matter of the World of Tribulations would be over. Night Sorrow didn't know that not long after he left the Calamity Realm, Lu Qi received the news. He was worried. His avatar and Huang Ling took the teleportation array to the camp of Night Sorrow's subordinates. After asking around, no one knew what was going on with Night Sorrow. The main thing was that Night Sorrow didn't tell anyone. 7th Elder, there shouldn't be a problem. Commander Yi has already killed 2 cultivators from the tribulation of 5 emperors. His strength is already there. The cultivator from the tribulation of 5 emperors can't threaten him. The others are just decorations, Huang Ling said. That's true, but he's young. I'm worried he'll suffer because of his youth. Lu Qi was still worried. He was afraid something would happen to Yishan. If something really happened to Yishan, he wouldn't be able to answer to the City Lord, King Wu, and the Great Elder. Let's just wait here. If something happens, Night Sorrow's main body will react. Huang Ling shook her head at Lu Qi. Lu Qi nodded and didn't say anything else. He had confidence in Night Sorrow. His worry was just a feeling. In the evening, Night Sorrow found Fire Dance. Realm Lord, we can go now. Fire Dance nodded at Night Sorrow. Fire Dance, I'm sorry. The Fire Dance core is a large core. It will affect the apocalypse, so I can't accept it. Night Sorrow said to Fire Dance. Forever oh long live. Faye SC7 little hashtag said. Life in Tribulation world belongs to tribulation. They exist because of tribulation. It's already good that you're willing to take us in and give us a chance to survive. Fire understands this. After Fire Dance goes there, she'll only take the Legion commander away. As for the rest, let nature take its course. Fire Dance was a little helpless. She also understood that the number of soldiers and combat power in the Calamity Realm would affect whether the Celestial Realm survived the Apocalypse calamity or not. Night Sorrow didn't say anything else. In addition, Night Sorrow also understood the core in the Calamity Realm. They hadn't been established for a long time. They were formed to attack the Celestial Realm. He didn't have deep feelings for them. After chatting with Fire Dance for a while, Night Sorrow brought Fire Dance to the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pavilion and called Mo Tianji out. Looking at Mo Tianji, Fire Dance took a step back. Mo Tianji's gaze made her feel pressured. Tianji, her name is Fire Dance. In the future, she will also be a member of the 9 Regions world. Night Sorrow nodded at Emotianji. You have the final say. However, in your words, no one is to harm the 9 regions world, Emotianji said. Night Sorrow brought Emotianji and Fire Dance to the teleportation array. After a few more teleportations, they arrived at the spatial tunnel where the Calamity Realm was. Seeing Emotianji, Heavenly Astral King, Long Yixing, and Old Ancestor Green Rock's expressions changed. They placed their hands on their weapons. Don't worry. She is my friend. I will take her to deal with some matters. If there is pressure here, go to Tianhuang City and inform my main body. I will make some arrangements. Nodding at Long Yixing, Old Ancestor Green Rock, and Heavenly Astral King, Night Sorrow brought Emotianji and Fire Dance to the teleportation array and left. Brother Green Rock, what is that woman's cultivation? Long Yixing looked at Old Ancestor Green Rock and asked. 9 Emperor's Tribulation. Her cultivation is even higher than the Grand Elders. Old Ancestor Green Rock's voice was trembling. He was a 5 Emperor's Tribulation. He had a secret technique that could detect cultivators 5 levels higher than him. Therefore, he could detect Emotianji's cultivation. Why did such a cultivator suddenly appear? And she is standing behind Night Sorrow? Long Yixing was a little confused. He did not know what was going on. Old Ancestor Green Rock and Heavenly Astral King did not say anything. They also did not know what was going on. After teleporting twice, Night Sorrow stopped. Tianji, your cultivation is too frightening. I really can't bring you out casually in the future. I owe you an explanation again. Is there a need to explain? You don't have to explain to anyone, right? You are one of the 100 races of the Celestial Realm, but you are also the Realm Lord of the 9 regions world. You don't have to care about the matters of the 9 regions world. Emotianji said. That is true, but some people have to be respected. After all, they are all seniors who have fought for the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Emotianji did not say anything. She was now following Night Sorrow. She did not want Night Sorrow to lose face and care about others. However, she also understood that Night Sorrow was right. After coming out of the teleportation array, Emotianji turned around and looked at Night Sorrow. Call me if you need anything. After saying that, Emotianji waved her hand and entered the Origin Enlightened Treasure Tower in a flash. There were some people she did not want to see. Lu Qi was one of them. One should know that she used to be all-powerful. Lu Qi, Pu Luo, and the others were all juniors. She naturally did not want to see them now. Yi Shang chuckled. He naturally understood Emotianji's mentality and understood her. Lin Yun, come and help me receive Fire Dance. Night Sorrow said to Lin Yun, who was guarding the teleportation array. She was dumbfounded. Then, he walked towards the main tent. Lu Qi and the others were standing outside the tent, waiting for him. Night Sorrow came to the tent and invited them in. Chapter 2154. It's not a big deal. I've just finished dealing with some things. It's not convenient for me to tell you before I'm done. After Night Sorrow sat down, he explained the current situation and his arrangements and plans. Understood. But who was that? Lu Qi asked. After Emotianji arrived, she disappeared directly. Lu Qi only detected a shadow but did not see it clearly. Night Sorrow lowered his head and pondered. He did not want to talk about Emotianji because it was related to her. Emotianji had submitted, but Yi Shang wanted to be friends with Emotianji. He didn't want Emotianji to lose face. If he told her the whole story, it would be the same as Emotianji losing face. You can arrange these things. Ling Huang and I came here because we were a little worried. There's no problem now. If you need support, send someone to inform us. Lu Qi said. Seeing Night Sorrow hesitate, he understood that some things might not be convenient for Night Sorrow to say. Thank you, seventh elder. Night Sorrow can deal with these things. Next, you can arrange for people to guard the space channel. I'll deal with the matters in the world of tribulations. It won't take too long. Night Sorrow said. Lu Qi nodded and left with Huang Ling. They already knew that Night Sorrow had dealt with Lu Xing and Lu Yun and destroyed the meteor core. When they came, they also guessed that the woman in the fiery red armor might be Huo Wu. They had some guesses in their hearts. After sending Lu Qi and Huang Ling off, Night Sorrow gathered the main members of his troops in the big tent. He also called Huo Wu over and introduced her to everyone. At the same time, he emphasized that Huo Wu would be a member of the Nine Domains world in the future and could not be discriminated against. Then he talked about some of the following arrangements. Captain, if the Fire Dance Corps has no commander and corps commander, then we have no problem taking them down. Long Jin said. I won't be participating in this war. Pu Luo, you will dispatch the 2 commanders of the Heaven Wasteland Army. Long Jin, you will lead the First Army and the God-slaying squad. Fire Dance, you will bring the army commander here. You don't have to participate in this war. It's inconvenient for you to travel back and forth. This is my token. When the army commander under your command arrives at the Nine Domain world, I will arrange for the soul imprint. Night Sorrow stood up and made the final arrangements. Night Sorrow had made such arrangements because he was worried about Fire Dance's feelings. In the future, Fire Dance would be a member of the Nine Regions world, and so would the other Legion commanders. Night Sorrow did not want to make things awkward in the future, so he did not plan to take action. In addition, the war with the Fire Dance Corps was already a foregone conclusion. There were many people who could understand Night Sorrow. Pu Luo, Long Jin, and Lin Piaomiao all understood him, so they didn't ask. After the arrangements were made, Night Sorrow returned to his tent. He would not ask about this matter anymore. If the Fire Dance Corps could not be dealt with smoothly, then the Fire Dance Corps was not destined to die. After the battle deployment was completed, everyone in the encampment left. Fire Dance also left. She was going to bring the other Legion commander. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine, poured a bowl, and drank it in one gulp. He suddenly felt very uncomfortable. He could not stop the massacre from happening, and he was even pushing it forward. He did not want to face such a scene. The curtain of the tent was lifted, and Mo Tianji walked in. She sat down opposite Night Sorrow. You are not in the right mood. Everything has a spirit, and they all have the right to live in this world. However, war has taken away all of this. Night Sorrow drank another mouthful of wine. You are already a cultivator of the 3 sovereigns' tribulation. Only the fittest survive. Don't you understand? Mo Tianji said. I understand, but I feel very sad in my heart. Really sad. Can't you avoid these things? Night Sorrow poured a bowl of wine for Mo Tianji. You shouldn't. What level are you at? If this goes on, your Tao heart will become unstable. You shouldn't be bemoaning the state of the universe and pitying the fate of mankind. Or rather, it shouldn't appear in the current you. Mo Tianji looked at Night Sorrow carefully and then shook her head. She found that Night Sorrow was very stable. His Tao heart was very stable. This did not make sense. The human heart. Tribulation is the rule, but the cause of war is the human heart. Ending the war is also the human heart's push. A few days ago, I felt that the human heart is the heaven's heart, and the heaven's heart is the Tao heart. When one's Tao heart is strong and one's strength is strong, one can control everything. Strength is merit, but great merit is great Tao. Night Sorrow slapped his forehead. I did not expect you to reach this step. Actually, this is what cultivators of the soul as one realm have to do. They have to ask the human heart. Therefore, the soul as one realm is also called the Tao querying realm. Different hearts lead to different Taos, which also determines one's strength. Of course, everyone's comprehension is different, Mo Tianji said. I have thought about it for a few days. I feel that reasoning is very important. Can I tell you why Fire Dance left the war? It is because of reasoning. Night Sorrow looked at Mo Tianji and expressed his opinion. That is also based on the foundation of a strong Tao. Without Tao, you would have been killed the moment you saw Fire Dance. Do you still have the chance to lecture her? Mo Tianji smiled. So, what I said before was right. Reasoning is right. There must be reason. Night Sorrow understood some things. His reasoning was reasonable. You are the Emperor Merit Emperor. You are the virtuous Merit Emperor. Your comprehension is something ordinary people don't have. You look like you kill without hesitation, but you have a heart that bemoans the state of the universe and the fate of mankind. This will make your path even longer. I can give you some advice. You need to have a foundation. Strength is the foundation of reason. If you want to prove your reason, you need to have a big fist. What do you think? Mo Tianji asked Yishang. Yes. Reasoning also needs a foundation. You are an ant. No matter how good your reasoning is, an elephant will not listen. With reasoning in your body, using merit to prove your reasoning is the right path. Listening to your words has brightened my Tao heart. Night Sorrow laughed loudly. Mo Tianji shook her head. She knew that this was the difference between ordinary people and geniuses and monsters. A casual sentence from her could brighten Night Sorrow's Tao heart. No one would believe it if she told others. Chapter D of R, Part C, the Tao heart brightened meant that the Tao heart was eternally firm. It was the state of indestructibility after entering the Tao, understanding the Tao, and understanding the Tao. It was the highest state of the mind. Now, Night Sorrow had arrived. Congratulations. Mo Tianji cupped her hands at Night Sorrow. Haha. Thank you. Your words were effective. They gave me enlightenment. Night Sorrow laughed. The enlightenment of his Tao heart made him very happy. I really have to hand it to you. Just one sentence was enough to give you such a deep understanding. Mo Tianji shook her head. She was truly impressed. Night Sorrow's comprehension was too terrifying. He understood just like that. Chapter 2155. You have the final say in everything. Other than the war against the demon-winged clan, I have no problem with you declaring war on any other world. Mo Tianji patted her chest. Update WNY fastest unspecified currency carat, mind your image. Night Sorrow turned his head and looked to the side. One's appearance comes from one's heart. You are thinking too much. Mo Tianji smiled. When Jun Xuanji had opened the soul seal and their souls had connected, she had obtained Jun Xuanji's memories and even some of his emotions. Therefore, she understood Night Sorrow and even knew his weakness. Of course, she would not use Night Sorrow's weakness again. Because she understood Night Sorrow, she respected him even more. Wait for the news. When the Fire Dance Corps is done, we'll set off. You just focus on dealing with Supreme Crow, Night Sorrow said. Although I've been at a disadvantage since meeting you, I've only been suppressed by the human Emperor's seal before. Supreme Crow is nothing. Mo Tianji looked at Night Sorrow, her face full of confidence. Night Sorrow nodded. He did not underestimate Mo Tianji because of her defeat and submission. He also knew her strength. The two of them chatted casually, exchanging their views on the development of the 9 regions world and even some insights on cultivation. What shocked Night Sorrow was that Mo Tianji had a deep understanding of the taboo samsara attribute. He did not understand. After asking, he found out that Mo Tianji was a cultivator of the taboo samsara attribute. Or rather, she had just become a cultivator of the taboo samsara attribute. Mo Tianji was different from Night Sorrow. In the past, she had cultivated the destruction, time, space, life, and death attributes in order to not reduce her lifespan. However, she did not combine them, even when she fought with Yan Wushuang. Now that she had entered the tribulation of 9 emperors and only had one epoch left, she did not have any scruples and successfully combined the samsara attribute. Night Sorrow was not proficient in the peerless attribute, while Motianji and the City Lord were not proficient in the spacetime attribute. Motianji's spacetime element was the same as City Lord Tran Hung. They were both at the Imperial Emperor level. In other words, it was a mid-level forbidden samsara element. Practitioners with immortal potential really are different. But I don't understand why you guys are all bad at the spacetime attribute, but when it comes to me, it becomes the limitless attribute that is restricted. Night Sorrow sighed. The time attribute is a secondary supreme attribute. The Tao it contains is difficult to comprehend, so it is normal for you to get stuck. As for life and death, they are relatively easier to comprehend. However, it is not exactly easy. The main reason is that cultivators experience more life and death as they grow. Naturally, they will have a deeper understanding of them. You are still young, so you have seen less life and death. Therefore, you will have to rely on your comprehension, Mo Tianji said. She knew Night Sorrow's situation better. What you said is true. The accumulation of time is what I lack. Night Sorrow nodded. Your ability to fight those above your level is very strong. Ever since you made your debut, you've been progressing smoothly. You haven't experienced many life and death situations. Take it slow. An epoch is a lot for you. It's like 100 billion years. Mo Tianji nodded at Yishang. Half a day later, the battle between Night Sorrow's men and the Fire Dance Corps reached the formation area. The Fire Dance Corps' men were led by Pu Luo and Long Jin. There were no more masters in the Fire Dance Corps. After Fire Dance and the other corps commanders left, there were only 2 Tribulation 1 Emperor cultivators left. After they were killed by Pu Luo, the Fire Dance Corps was faced with a massacre. Night Sorrow did not participate, and Mo Tianji did not care. She was a Tribulation 9 Emperor cultivator, so she would not interfere easily. In 2 days, the Fire Dance Corps disappeared. Other than the blood on the battlefield, there was nothing to prove that they had once existed. Night Sorrow ordered the troops to set off in 3 days. They went straight to the Spirit Abyss. The Spirit Abyss was the core of the Tribulation realm. The 3 corps were mobilized, but there were still some people in the core area. If they wanted to give Mo Tianji a one-on-one environment, they would have to clear out the surrounding area. Mo Tianji did not enter the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pavilion this time. She stayed in Night Sorrow's tent and meditated. Pu Luo, the Great Demon King, Lin Piaomiao, and Datura also knew about the situation. They also greeted Mo Tianji. Night Sorrow was interacting with Mo Tianji as a friend, so they naturally had to respect her. Besides, they did not have any reason to look down on Mo Tianji. In terms of achievements, Mo Tianji was much higher than them. Night Sorrow's 9-domain doppelganger also made arrangements for the corps commander that Fire Dance had brought over. He gave him the Life Origin imprint, and the corps commander also swore a Heavenly Tao oath. Night Sorrow had Tai Shu Yan arrange for a few people to be stationed in 9-domain city. Their identities were the protectors of 9-domain city. After everything was arranged, Night Sorrow led his subordinates forward. The map that Night Sorrow and the others had made was very accurate. Night Sorrow had confirmed this with Fire Dance. Fire Dance had added some markings on it, marking the location of the Spirit Abyss. In the first few places, the God-slaying team would clear out any cultivators from the Tribulation realm. The Spirit Abyss was in the deepest part of the Tribulation realm. It was relatively far away. This was also one of the reasons why the 3 corps in the Tribulation realm had pulled apart the distance. Night Sorrow, can you lure this guy out of the Spirit Abyss? Mo Tianji asked Night Sorrow as they advanced. I'll lure him out. He's an 8 Emperor Tribulation expert. If his big move hits me, it'll be fatal. Night Sorrow turned his head and glanced at Mo Tianji, who was not far from him. Who are you? You're a human sovereign. It's not difficult for you to fight above your level. Mo Zhantian is a 9 Emperor Tribulation expert. He attacked you with all his strength, but didn't you block it? Last time, you blocked it. This time, you're luring it out. It's easier, Mo said as she glanced at Night Sorrow. Scam. Maybe I'll really die one time. Night Sorrow nodded helplessly. That won't happen. You're carrying my Origin Enlightened Treasure Pavilion. If you're really in danger, I'll appear immediately. I'm thinking this mainly because, according to Fire Dance, even she can't enter the Spirit Abyss. The environment there must be extremely bad. Wu Lingzuan, who's cultivating there, is very familiar with it. He has the geographical advantage inside, so we have to cut off his escape route. Mo Tianji explained why she had such an idea. We'll do as you say. When the time comes, I'll lure him out. When he has no way out, you kill him. Night Sorrow was just chatting casually. He didn't want Wu Lingzuan to run away the most. You have to be careful. To be able to call himself a venerable, he must be very powerful. This venerable is different from the venerable of the vast heaven realm. Normally, only world origins call themselves that, Mo Tianji reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He knew that Mo Tianji was telling the truth. The celestial realm origin bodies and reincarnation origin bodies all called themselves venerables. The closer they got to the Spirit Abyss, the worse the environment became. Chapter 2156. Pu Luo and the others received their orders and set off with their teams. Yi Shang planned to clean up the surroundings of the Spirit Abyss and then advance toward the core area. As for whether the 4 teams would encounter powerful experts or not, Yi Shang was not worried. He could determine their location. He and Mo Tianji had arrived in time to provide support. The team set off. Night Sorrow set up a tent and stood outside, looking at the Spirit Abyss. The Spirit Abyss is not small. It has a radius of a few million miles. It will take a long time to clean it up. Besides, it won't decide the outcome of the battle. Let's go in and take a look. Only by killing Wu Lingzuan can we solve the fundamental problem, said Mo Tianji. Okay. If we encounter Wu Lingzuan's subordinates, we'll deal with them first. Night Sorrow nodded. After making the decision, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji flew toward the Spirit Abyss. Under normal circumstances, the Emperor Tribulation cultivators would sense each other's opportunities very strongly. They could sense each other from a million miles away. However, after entering the Spirit Abyss, Mo Tianji and Night Sorrow lost this feeling. It was affected by the energy of the Spirit Abyss. The core area of the Tribulation realm is the Spirit Abyss. The origin of the realm is also in this area. Therefore, some of our opportunities have disappeared. We can only rely on our soul power to investigate. Be careful, Mo Tianji reminded Night Sorrow. Under such circumstances, there was no need for her to enter the Origin Treasure Pavilion immediately. She had lost her opportunity to sense, and so had Wu Lingzuan. What I'm thinking about now is whether Wu Lingzuan can control the origin of this tribulation realm. If he can, then he will find us first. In your words, this is his territory. He has the geographical advantage. Night Sorrow expressed his concern. It's hard to say. Neither of us dares to say that. So, let's take our time. Anyway, he can't beat us. If he can't beat us, then we'll pretend to be weak and run out of the Spirit Abyss. If he dares to chase us, then we'll kill him. If he doesn't chase us, then we'll play with him slowly. You should be good at positional warfare. Are you afraid we can't kill him? Said Mo Tianji. It's rare for a woman to be as domineering as you. We are the ones who are here to kill him. We can always think of a way to kill him. There are always more ways than difficulties. Night Sorrow smiled. Men are rarely as domineering as you. Perhaps this is why Jun Xuanji likes you, Mo Tianji said. Night Sorrow sighed. Originally, he and Jun Xuanji were good friends. It could be said that they were good friends who talked about everything. However, after that incident, Night Sorrow felt that he had a lot of things to do. He was somewhat embarrassed. Don't you plan to marry Jun Xuanji? Mo Tianji asked Night Sorrow. Heavenly concubine, let's not talk about this. Don't you feel awkward? Night Sorrow looked at Mo Tianji and shook his head. Mo Tianji's aura was very similar to Jun Xuanji's, but it was much stronger. Jun Xuanji had obtained the cultivation memories from Mo Tianji's memories, but his aura and aura were different. Mo Tianji had the aura of someone who had been in a high position for many eras. This was a true foundation. Ordinary cultivators, even the clan leaders of the Divine Beast clans, would feel pressured when they saw Mo Tianji. Night Sorrow did not feel pressured because he had good karma and reason. He could hold his head high in the world. Jun Xuanji could not do this. Awkward. You're saying it like it's someone else's business, but it's actually no different from my own. She and I come from the same soul. This is unavoidable. I hope that Jun Xuanji can live well. Actually, I find you quite pleasing to the eye, so I'm just asking. I won't mention this again in the future. Mo Tianji told him some of her feelings. Night Sorrow smiled. Heavenly concubine, do you like the 9 regions world? Mo Tianji nodded. She really liked the 9 regions world. She had once lived in the Heaven Wasteland domain, the Celestial Realm's Heaven Wasteland domain. It was a world where killing happened frequently, and she was very tired. However, the 9 regions world was different. It was an extremely peaceful world. When Mo Tianji saw people she did not know on the streets, she would smile and nod. Being kind to others was a quality of the 9 regions world's cultivators. This also let Mo Tianji know that although the 9 regions world had not existed for long, its level of education was already very high, especially in the area of virtue. The cultivators of the 9 regions world all paid attention to their own virtue. Why new G, chapter, I previous I you like it. That's fine. In the future, you can choose a territory you like. I'll give it to you. You can build a dojo or find someone you like to live in seclusion. In short, you can live however you want, Night Sorrow said with a smile. This is the last era of the celestial realm. It's also the era with the cruelest wars. However, to me, it's the era with the greatest change in my life. I'm really grateful to you. I also apologize for the harm I've caused you in the past. Mo Tianji cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. Haha. This time, you're sincere. However, there's no need for that. In the past, our positions were different. No one has the right to blame you, and no one will blame you. When the war is over, you can go back and arrange your own things. Night Sorrow reached out and held Mo Tianji's arm. There's only one era. I'll live seriously and experience the happiness of an ordinary person. Mo Tianji sighed. After seeing the lives of the people of the 9 regions world, Mo Tianji felt that her life in the past was indeed too hard. Night Sorrow shook his head. He suddenly felt a bit pressured because many people's fates were tied to his. In the words of the Origin Universe Senior of the Celestial Realm, passing the God-destroying tribulation would give one the ability to control the heavens and the cycle of reincarnation. One could change some things. That way, cultivators like the City Lord of Tianhuang and King Yowu who only had one era left would not die. However, passing the God-destroying tribulation was extremely difficult. There were 1,000 reincarnations in Tianhuang and 1,000 in the Celestial Realm. After 2,000 reincarnations, no one had passed the God-destroying tribulation. Night Sorrow was confident in himself, but he knew how difficult it was. Seeing Night Sorrow pondering, Mo Tianji did not say anything. She wrapped Night Sorrow in her protective domain and continued to move deeper into the spirit abyss. The tribulation world was the tribulation of the Celestial Realm. It was a very high-level tribulation. The spirit abyss was a special area. It was an underground sinkhole that constantly spewed out energy. The energy was the highest level of reincarnation energy, which was a forbidden attribute. This was also the reason why Huo Wu, a cultivator of the 5 Emperors' tribulation, could not get close. Night Sorrow, the energy here is so overbearing. If you don't control the origin of the world, it will be difficult to stay here. That bastard Wu Lingzuan most likely controlled the origin of the world. At the very least, he's communicating with the origin of the world, Mo Tianji cursed. In this situation, Tianji, you have to hide. He has the help of the origin of the world and can discover your existence. Then, we will be in a passive position, Night Sorrow said. Mo Tianji nodded and handed the origin treasure pavilion to Night Sorrow. Safety first. Now, we need a strategy because I have not cultivated to the level of soul unification. If things don't work out, you can retreat. Wait until I reach soul unification and deal with him. He won't be able to run. 50 years is nothing. Chapter 2157. Night Sorrow pinned the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pagoda to his waist. Mo Tianji nodded at Night Sorrow before entering the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pagoda in a flash. TT unspecified currency forever and forever, free of charge reading novels without Mo Tianji's precept domain blocking it. Ling Yuan samsara taboo energy that was invading outside rushed towards Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow did not use his precept domain. Instead, he used the virtuous immortal body. As he used the virtuous immortal body, glowing runes appeared around him. Robe. Night Sorrow put on the virtuous robe and blocked the samsara taboo energy that was invading his body. After familiarizing himself with the situation, Night Sorrow used the leakless true body to control the leakage of his energy aura and continued forward. Inside the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pagoda, Mo Tianji, who was using her soul power to investigate the situation outside, narrowed her eyes. She was shocked. Night Sorrow's situation surprised her. Night Sorrow did not use his true chi energy. Just the energy contained in his body was able to block the invasion of the samsara taboo energy. No one had ever achieved such an achievement in body cultivation before. Her body's strength had only started to have Dao rhymes after entering the tribulation of the 7 emperors. At that time, her strength was not as abnormal as Night Sorrow's. In other words, in terms of body strength, her tribulation of the 9 emperors' cultivation base and countless true chi energy baptisms were only comparable to Night Sorrow's current strength. Another point was Night Sorrow's use and control of energy. Ordinary cultivators could not control their energy perfectly without leakage. However, Night Sorrow had done it. There was no energy circulating outside the virtuous robe. Not only would it be difficult for the opponent to detect it, but the loss of energy during battle would also be minimal. It would accumulate a great advantage. Mo Tianji smiled. She was sincerely convinced. Mo Tianji was convinced that she had lost to Night Sorrow. She had no complaints. She realized that she was inferior to Night Sorrow in all aspects. Now, she was stronger than Night Sorrow because she had accumulated a lot of experience. In other aspects, she could not compare to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow strode forward with the Bloodcurrent evil vanquishing spear on his back. With the virtuous robe protecting him, the spirit abyss energy was like a soldier meeting a king, avoiding him. As they advanced, Night Sorrow pushed his soul power to the maximum, constantly probing. If he could discover Sovereign Crow's spirit first, he would have the upper hand. While Night Sorrow was moving forward, Mo Tianji's soul power reached Night Sorrow's godly sea. She communicated with Night Sorrow and asked him for advice on how to cultivate without leaking his aura. Night Sorrow talked to Mo Tianji. If they could kill Black Spirit Supremacy, she would give him the cultivation method for the leakless true body. Hearing this, Mo Tianji was surprised. Cultivators placed great importance on inheritances and absolute arts. She was not prepared for Night Sorrow to teach her just like that. I can teach it to you, but you can only cultivate it yourself. You can't teach it to anyone else because it's not something I researched myself. It's the Ice Dragon clans. If I teach it to you, I'll have to put down my old face and tell them. Yi Shang communicated with Mo Tianji through his soul power. This is a big favor. I will accept it. In the future, I will do whatever Night Sorrow says. This time, I will not take half. All the resources will be yours, said Mo Tianji. Tianji, if you are using resources to measure these things, I am very disappointed. I am not asking for anything in return by teaching you this cultivation method. I am not asking for anything in return, nor am I trying to negotiate with you. It is because of our friendship and because you are my friend. Night Sorrow transmitted his thoughts to Mo Tianji. Mo Tianji was silent for a while before apologizing to Night Sorrow. She also explained that she was not looking down on Night Sorrow, nor was she trying to blaspheme his friendship. She just did not know how to repay him. Night Sorrow told Mo Tianji that he and his brothers, sisters, and friends did not ask for anything in return. They would not be stingy if they could help each other. Smiling, Mo Tianji told Night Sorrow that she would change her thoughts and attitude in the future. After saying that, Mo Tianji was stunned. She had never thought that there would be a day when she would say that she would try to change her thoughts and attitude to someone else. Furthermore, she was willing to say it. Night Sorrow knew that Mo Tianji had really changed. He was very happy. While moving forward, Night Sorrow used his soul power to check the situation. After entering the spirit abyss, Night Sorrow did not find any life forms. Not to mention cultivators, there was not even an ordinary life form. Night Sorrow also understood that ordinary life forms would not be able to survive in such a special area. Even Huowu, a fifth Emperor Tribulation cultivator, would not be able to come here, let alone other life forms. Suddenly, Yishang stopped in his tracks and pondered. It was Pu Luo's original body who found Yishang's original body, who was cultivating in the heavenly desolate city. He told Yishang that the people he led had found a palace. They hadn't attacked yet, and the other side hadn't found anything. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that there was still time. He did not need to go there himself, so he found Lu Qi's true body. Then, he found Blood Qilin King, who was also in Tianhuang City, and told them to go there. This way, he could continue to go deeper into the spirit abyss without having to retreat. Night Sorrow also told Pu Luo that if Wu Lingzuan was in the palace or if he went to help, he should crush his soul crystal immediately. Pu Luo nodded. Night Sorrow, I've troubled you. I will go into seclusion later to improve my strength. I can't let you take care of everything. We are brothers. You don't have to be so polite. The city lord and the great elder are not here. My original body is guarding the heaven wasteland pagoda, so I won't go. Yishang communicated with Pu Luo. After his true body took care of things, Night Sorrow told Mo Tianji about the situation. Heavenly concubine, this world is a tribulation world. The biggest difference between them and us is that they do not have avatars. I confirmed this with Huowu and the others, so their information transmission is more limited. Then let's continue forward. If Venerable Wu Lingzuan is in the spirit abyss, he won't know that his base has been attacked. Even if he knows, we can go there at full speed. We can go there in time to help. Although Lu Qi is a little weak, he's not useless, said Mo Tianji. Heavenly concubine. Don't be so discouraging. Night Sorrow shook his head helplessly. To be honest, among the 100 clans of the Heaven Realm, there are only a few people who are not trash in my eyes. The Lord of Heavenly Desolate City and King Miao Wu are indeed rich people. While improving their cultivation, their combat ability is indeed strong. Your master Yan Wushuang is the same as them. Her cultivation is a little lower, but her combat ability is good. Later, she obtained the Human Emperor's seal. Her combat ability was the best during that time. The Grand Elder is a little weaker. Before your master obtained the Human Emperor's seal, the Demon Wing clan had the strength to attack the Tianhuang city. In order to be more confident, I had been holding back. In the end, your master obtained the Human Emperor's seal and the situation was reversed. Later on, you should know that Lu Qi is a rising star, and Pu Luo is even younger. It was not their era. Mo Tianji told Night Sorrow her evaluation of the experts of the 100 races of the celestial realm. Perhaps you are right. However, it is not easy. We should give them some respect. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2158. Tianji, you're already very powerful to be able to reach this level. I'm very impressed, Night Sorrow said. I'm quite satisfied with myself. But looking back, I feel that sometimes I didn't do my best. If the three great heavens of the Demon Wing clan had given up on their lifespan and directly tried to break through, the 100 races of the celestial realm wouldn't have been able to hold on. Mo Tianji talked about her past shortcomings. Everyone has different values. I feel that as long as you do your best, it's enough. After you've done your best, every time you look back, there's no regret, only pride. Night Sorrow expressed his feelings. Mo Tianji didn't say anything else. She was afraid that she would be affected because she had never been able to achieve Night Sorrow's resolve. As they moved forward, Night Sorrow felt the pressure increase. Fortunately, the merit immortal body could withstand it. After moving forward for 1,000,000 miles, Night Sorrow stopped and adjusted his direction. Mo Tianji asked. Night Sorrow told her that the world origin in his divine sea had sensed it. Are you stupid? If the world origin in your body sensed it, then the world origin of Calamity's world origin will naturally sense it too. If Black Spirit Supremacy controls or communicates with the world origin of Calamity's world origin, he'll definitely know and kill his way over. You don't need to go deep at all. Mo Tianji stopped Night Sorrow. You're the stupid one. I have the world origin of a supreme world. How can it be compared to the world origin of Calamity's world origin? I can find it, but it can't find me. Do you understand? Night Sorrow was called stupid. He was very conflicted because almost no one talked to him like that. I said you're stupid, but you still don't admit it. Don't you know how to activate the world origin? That way, it'll be much easier to lure it out. You'll also run a shorter distance outside. Are you going to be hot-headed and send people to it? Mo Tianji retorted Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow stopped in his tracks. He felt that Mo Tianji was right. He could release his aura and let the origin of Tribulation Realm sense it. Then, Tribulation Realm would notify Black Spirit Sovereign. All he had to do was wait here. Finding it feasible, Night Sorrow used his soul power to stimulate the 9 regions' origin beads, releasing the aura of world essence. Next, he released his soul power as much as he could to investigate. Night Sorrow, you don't need to release your soul force. I'll do it. Mo Tianji released her soul power. Her soul power was much stronger than Night Sorrow's, so she didn't need Night Sorrow's soul power to check. After 15 minutes, Mo Tianji communicated with Night Sorrow with her soul power. Run. There are experts in the southeast. They are very fast. Night Sorrow turned and flew at full speed. This was Paragon Black Spirit's territory, and he wanted to leave. Quick. Can you go any faster? He is twice as fast as you. It won't take long for him to catch up. Mo Tianji urged Night Sorrow. She was worried about Night Sorrow's safety. Space Rend. Using the void steps, Night Sorrow increased his speed. He is much faster than you. According to my estimation, he will catch up to you 200,000 miles away from the periphery of Spirit Abyss. Mo Tianji gave her estimate. Night Sorrow was shocked. He knew that this was Paragon Black Spirit's territory, but he didn't expect Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign to be so fast. However, there was nothing he could do. This was his fastest speed. Maintaining his speed, Night Sorrow rushed out of Spirit Abyss. Mo Tianji reminded Night Sorrow of the distance. When he was 400,000 miles away from the periphery of Spirit Abyss, Night Sorrow found Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign. He was a man wearing a black robe with runes. His body was filled with a ferocious aura, and there was a special mark on his forehead. It was a golden red mark. He was really fast. Night Sorrow could only maintain this speed. There was nothing he could do about it. He was good at agility, but moving in a straight line was different. He couldn't compare to someone with a higher cultivation. Night Sorrow, if he catches up, I will carry you and fly, Mo Tianji said. She was very worried now because she realized that Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign's cultivation was at the peak of the 8 Emperor Tribulation. The difference between Night Sorrow and Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign was too great. No, if you show up in advance, we won't be able to stop him if he wants to run. He controls the world's origin, and Spirit Abyss is his territory. My world's origin can't resist his world's origin, so we must lure him out. If we don't leave Spirit Abyss, don't do anything. Luring him out is my mission. Night Sorrow expressed his insistence. Mo Tianji didn't say anything. She had her own considerations. She was afraid that something would happen to Night Sorrow. In addition, Mo Tianji was sure that she couldn't defeat Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign in the Spirit Abyss. Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign didn't just have a precept domain to protect his speed, he also had the world's origin surrounding him. In other words, he was the realm master of this tribulation world. As they chased, Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign and Night Sorrow got closer and closer. You have the world's origin. No matter which world you are from, you will die here today and become nourishment for Spirit Abyss and the world's origin, Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign roared as he chased. Night Sorrow didn't say anything and continued to fly. Mo Tianji's estimation was right. There were still close to 200,000 miles before they could leave Spirit Abyss. This 200,000 miles was his mission. When Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign got closer to Night Sorrow and was in attack range, he waved his battle blade and slashed at Night Sorrow's back. Night Sorrow used void steps and flew out diagonally, dodging Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign's slash and continuing to fly. More V1 new high fastest P on Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign's speed slowed down a little after one slash. He caught up and continued to slash. Void steps, after image body. Night Sorrow used the two movement techniques alternately, dodging Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign's slash and continuing to fly. He had no intention of counterattacking. The difference between the two of them was too great. He was too fragile in front of Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign. His life would be gone. Mo Tianji was very worried, but she also knew that if she went out now, Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign would see that his cultivation was inferior to hers. Even if he didn't run, he wouldn't leave Spirit Abyss. The assassination plan would fail. Under Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign's attacks, she got closer and closer to Night Sorrow. The damage of her attacks became greater and more violent. Suppress. Venerate Crow Spirit's Tao domain enveloped Yi Chang when he saw how nimble Yi Chang's movements were. Merit Primordial Tao domain. Seeing Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign use Tao domain to suppress him, Night Sorrow switched his Tao domain to the Merit Primordial Tao domain. The Reincarnation Tao domain was good at suppressing and supporting attacks, while the Primordial Tao domain was good at melting defense. The suppression was ineffective. It wasn't exactly ineffective, but the effect wasn't ideal. This surprised Paragon Black Spirit Sovereign. He didn't expect that his Tao domain at 80% of its strength wouldn't be enough to suppress Night Sorrow. After all, there was a 50% difference. Chapter 2159. Origin Force Suppression. Night Sorrow, who was being suppressed, activated the 9-domain Origin Pearl and released the world's Origin Force to counter Black Spirit Supremacy's Origin Force suppression. Black Spirit Supremacy was stunned. He knew that Night Sorrow had Origin Force, but he didn't expect Night Sorrow to be able to control such a strong Origin Force to resist the suppression. This was the Tribulation Realm's home ground, and the Spirit Abyss's Origin Force suppression was very strong. Night Sorrow also didn't know that if the 9-domain world's level wasn't higher than the Great World's and the world's Origin Force wasn't strong, he would be suppressed. After all, the Tribulation Realm's level wasn't low either. Run. Night Sorrow didn't care about anything else. As long as there was a chance to run, he wouldn't let it go. He was now very close to the Spirit Abyss, less than 60,000 miles away. As long as he made it out of this distance, it would be Mo Tianji's turn. With the virtuous Origin domain and the support of the Origin Force, Night Sorrow used the two movement techniques and the spacetime realm at the same time to continuously charge out of the spirit abyss. Black Spirit's supremacy was very angry. His battle blade continuously slashed at Night Sorrow. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow needed to use the spacetime realm. Black Spirit's supremacy's blade aura was too dense. If he was hit, he would lose his life. Night Sorrow wasn't suppressed. His speed was the same as before. He had his movement techniques and defensive techniques to block Black Spirit's supremacy's blade aura. Although he was in danger, he wasn't hit yet. He was like a small boat in the sea that could be swallowed at any time. Mo Tianji, whose soul strength had been locked onto the outside, was waiting to attack. Her heart was in her throat. She was very nervous because a single mistake from Yi Shang would be fatal. This made her admire Yi Shang's courage. Ordinary people wouldn't do this, let alone Night Sorrow, who had reached the level where he could succeed as long as he pursued stability. Night Sorrow did not turn back. Instead, he quickly rushed towards the periphery of the spirit abyss. He knew that Mo Tianji's attack would only be effective outside the spirit abyss. In the spirit abyss, Supremacy Crow Spirit's control of the World Origin's power was too powerful. He used the World Origin's power to protect his body, but it only prevented him from being suppressed. The other areas around him were suppressed and enveloped by the World Origin's power. In this situation, it was useless for Mo Tianji to attack. If Black Spirit Sovereign controlled the energy in the Spirit Abyss and the World Origin force to protect himself, then it would be almost impossible for Mo Tianji to defeat Black Spirit Sovereign. The resolute Night Sorrow continuously used Spatial Ren to open up a path ahead. Then, he used Afterimage Body to confuse Venerable Crow Spirit. In times of crisis, he used Spacetime Realm to dodge the attack. Mo Tianji had always been cheering for Night Sorrow. She had encountered many dangers, but she had never encountered a situation like this. Night Sorrow was risking his life for a chance to kill Black Spirit Sovereign. Because the suppression was ineffective, and Night Sorrow's movement technique and defense were heaven-defying, Black Spirit Sovereign's attacks all missed. Night Sorrow was getting closer and closer to the periphery of the Spirit Abyss. Tianji, don't be in a hurry to attack. My situation will be better after I leave the Spirit Abyss. He won't be able to kill me. I'll run further away, then you can come out and kill him. You must avenge me. Night Sorrow communicated with Mo Tianji through his soul power. Be careful. Mo Tianji held her sword in her right hand and kept an eye on the situation. She knew that the most dangerous path for Night Sorrow was to leave the Spirit Abyss. After leaving the Spirit Abyss, Black Spirit Sovereign's suppression of the Spirit Abyss would weaken, and Night Sorrow would be able to run more comfortably. After communicating with Mo Tianji, Night Sorrow shouted at Black Spirit Sovereign, who was swinging his blade, "You want to seize the world origins? You're not qualified. Don't be fooled by your jumping. You've already exhausted 30% of your energy. How much longer can you run? I'll cut you into pieces." Black Spirit Sovereign had been observing Night Sorrow's situation and could see that Night Sorrow was exhausted. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He had angered Black Spirit Sovereign and made it so that he wouldn't give up the chase. His goal had been achieved. A moment later, Night Sorrow rushed out of the Spirit Abyss. Easy. Night Sorrow felt a lot more relaxed. Inside the Spirit Abyss, the suppression of the Spirit Abyss's energy was not to be underestimated. Black Spirit Sovereign carried the world origins and controlled the Spirit Abyss's energy. After leaving the Spirit Abyss, Night Sorrow used Spatial Rend and tore through space to enter the turbulent space. He flew through the turbulent space with Black Spirit Sovereign following closely behind, still swinging his blade. Night Sorrow tore through space and returned to the real world. He used Spatial Barrier to cancel out the power and accuracy of Black Spirit Sovereign's blade. He was really baiting Black Spirit Sovereign as if he was running for his life. This kind of bait was realistic. Keep jumping. The Black Spirit Supremacy was very angry. Night Sorrow should have been an ant that he could casually crush before him, yet he had been jumping around for a while now. Night Sorrow shuttled back and forth between the Tribulation Realm and the turbulent space. Black Spirit Sovereign chased into the turbulent space while Night Sorrow entered the Tribulation Realm. Once Black Spirit Sovereign returned, he would enter. This consumed a lot of energy, but Night Sorrow wasn't afraid because Mo-Tianji would be able to make her move soon. After leaving the Spirit Abyss, Night Sorrow's speed increased. In a few breaths of time, he had traveled tens of thousands of miles. After Night Sorrow entered the turbulent space again, Mo-Tianji appeared. The time had come, and they were still some distance away from the Spirit Abyss. Black Spirit Sovereign was no longer able to use the Spirit Abyss's energy. Tribulation Realm of the 9 Emperors. You tricked this sovereign. Looking at Mo-Tianji between him and Night Sorrow, Black Spirit Sovereign understood everything. This was a trap to trick him. Catch! Night Sorrow flashed into the Clear Sky Pagoda. Then, the Clear Sky Pagoda flew into Mo-Tianji's hand. Looking at the Clear Sky Pagoda in her hand, Mo-Tianji hesitated for a moment. Then, she put the Clear Sky Pagoda in her lapel. She was wearing a loose silk dress without a belt, so she couldn't wear it like Night Sorrow. After putting away the Clear Sky Pagoda, Mo-Tianji looked at Black Spirit Sovereign. Black Spirit Sovereign, are you having fun chasing me? He wants to vent his anger, so you are dead. Shameless boasting. This is the Tribulation Realm, my Black Spirit world. Here, I am the ruler. Your Tribulation Realm of 9 Emperors cultivation is useless. Die. Black Spirit Sovereign protected himself with his Tao domain. Then, he charged at Mo-Tianji with the world's origin energy. Mo-Tianji used her reincarnation Tao domain to protect herself. At the same time, she discovered that her Tao domain was filled with the 9 domains world's origin energy. This origin energy suppressed Black Spirit Sovereign's origin energy. After the battle began, Black Spirit Sovereign was suppressed by Mo-Tianji. Mo-Tianji's cultivation was not only high, but she was also the leader of the 3 grand heavens of the demon-winged clan. Her combat ability was strong. Sword Chi surrounded Black Spirit Sovereign and cut him up. Black Spirit Sovereign's expression changed. His Tao domain was suppressed. His Tao domain was not a forbidden attribute, so its level was not high enough. In addition, this was the turbulent space. He could not use the world's origin energy much. This was also the reason why Mo-Tianji attacked in the turbulent space. She wanted to use the environment to limit Black Spirit Sovereign. Chapter 2160. If it had been a normal relationship, it would have been inappropriate for him to help in a one-on-one duel as it would have hurt his reputation. However, Night Sorrow and Mo-Tianji did not need his help. If he had too many concerns, he would be hypocritical. Let's work together to kill him. Mo-Tianji responded to Night Sorrow. She also treated Night Sorrow as a teammate. Her precept domain did not restrict Night Sorrow's energy and soul power. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow could smoothly integrate the world origin power into her precept domain. Today is the first time we've worked together. We must win. Night Sorrow controlled the soul annihilation slash, ignoring Black Spirit Supremacy's protective precept domain and slashing at him. Night Sorrow could not compete with true energy, but his soul power was not afraid of true energy defense. Most are. New W. Chapter 1 Wu Upper P. Seeing Night Sorrow's soul attack, Black Spirit Supremacy cursed. A gray energy halo appeared around his body for defense. It was the World Origin Pearl's defense. Night Sorrow could control the 9-region Origin Pearl to defend the Divine Sea, but so could Black Spirit Supremacy. As Night Sorrow's soul annihilation slash landed on Black Spirit Supremacy's protective energy halo, the collision of the soul power caused the halo to ripple in all directions. Black Spirit Supremacy's attack also paused for a moment. In addition, his control of the world origin power weakened significantly. This was the effect of the soul annihilation slash's negative attack. Black Spirit Supremacy had blocked the soul annihilation slash's direct attack, but he could not defend against the negative attack. He could no longer control the world origin power to fight Emotianji. Without the support of the world origin power, Black Spirit supremacy was flustered. Even with the world origin power, he was still suppressed by Emotianji. Now that he did not have the world origin power to support his precept domain, he was even worse off. Well done. Emotianji praised Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's attack had weakened Black Spirit supremacy by 30%. Her taboo reincarnation precept domain had completely suppressed Black Spirit supremacy. Continue. After Night Sorrow replied with these 3 words, he controlled the soul extinguishing slash to continuously attack Zun Wulingzuan's spiritual sea. He knew that he couldn't break through Zun Wulingzuan's spiritual defense, but he could interfere and weaken Zun Wulingzuan's combat strength. Feeling that the power was not enough, Night Sorrow activated the 9 regions origin beads and infused origin power into the crescent blade of the soul annihilation slash, increasing its power. Night Sorrow's soul extinguishing slash with his origin power made Zun Crow's origin power unable to affect the battlefield. It could only defend against Night Sorrow's attacks. Under such circumstances, Black Spirit Zun, who was weaker than Emotianji, was in an even worse situation. His body had already been struck by Emotianji's sword chi. His movement speed and attack power had already been affected. At the high-level Emperor Tribulation realm, it was impossible for the 2 sides to finish the battle in 1 or 2 moves. Both of their bodies were immortal and indestructible. Both of them had to constantly attack each other. The stacking of damage would continuously destroy the insides of their bodies. Now, Emotianji's sword chi had already begun to stack on Zun Wulingzuan. Zun Wulingzuan waved his saber, but his attacks were not effective. Emotianji's domain was too suppressive. His saber aura was suppressed by Emotianji's domain, causing its attack power and speed to decrease. Zun Wulingzuan waved his saber and slashed open the spatial barrier. He wanted to leave because if this continued, he would lose. Zun Wulingzuan wanted to run, but Emotianji naturally did not want to. Inside the spatial turbulence, Zun Wulingzuan's world origin power was the least effective. Emotianji's body flashed and appeared between Zun Wulingzuan and the spatial crack. She then waved her sword and attacked. With the domain suppression and Night Sorrow's soul extinguishing slash, Zun Wulingzuan's speed was too slow compared to Emotianji's. Therefore, he was intercepted. Not only did he not manage to escape, but he was also hit by Emotianji's sword. What a pair of dogs! Being affected by Night Sorrow and being hit by Emotianji's sword chi, Zun Wulingzuan started cursing. The situation was not looking good for him. Trash. This is war. It's your own fault for being stupid. It's your own fault for being inferior. After being scolded, Emotianji was very angry. In the past, no one had dared to scold her. After being attacked by Emotianji's sword chi, the forbidden samsara energy entered his body and destroyed it. Zun Wulingzuan's battle power was getting weaker and weaker. The main reason was that he could not suppress Emotianji's sword chi's destruction of his body. Night Sorrow controlled the soul extinguishing slash and continuously slashed at Zun Wulingzuan's soul defense. He wanted to disturb Zun Wulingzuan so that he could not focus on Emotianji. Zun Wulingzuan kept roaring. At this moment, he hated Night Sorrow the most. It was Night Sorrow who had lured him out. It was also Night Sorrow's soul attack that made him unable to focus on Emotianji's attacks. After being hit by another sword chi, gray flames appeared on Zun Wulingzuan's body. He slashed out a few times in all directions and then rushed towards a spatial crack. At this moment, he was extremely fast. Emotianji could not stop him in time. She could only send out a sword chi that pierced through Zun Wulingzuan's body. The heavily injured Zun Wulingzuan returned to Tribulation Realm. Just as Zun Wulingzuan suppressed his injuries and was about to leave, Emotianji also arrived in Tribulation Realm. Her precept domain once again wrapped around Zun Wulingzuan. However, the suppression was not strong. Zun Wulingzuan felt that the situation was not good. He had already burned his true qi to increase his battle power. Zun Wulingzuan, who had withstood the suppression, fought while moving towards Spirit Abyss. This bastard is running away regardless of the cost. Mo Tianji was anxious. She could kill Zun Wulingzuan, but she could not stop him from escaping. Virtuous Reincarnation Precept Domain. Night Sorrow appeared from the Clear Sky Pagoda and released his Virtuous Taboo Reincarnation Domain. It overlapped with Mo Tianji's Reincarnation Domain to suppress Zun Wulingzuan. Normally speaking, the power of two precept domains could not be overlapped. Night Sorrow's precept domain was not suppressed by Mo Tianji's precept domain because she did not guard against Night Sorrow. In addition, their precept domains were of the same origin and the virtuous golden light was very inclusive. Thus, they formed a combination. Zun Wulingzuan staggered and was suppressed again. This time, the suppression was even stronger. This was because Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji had both used their accumulation and foundation. Let's see if you can run again and talk nonsense again. Who are you? Sword Chi Slash. Mo Tianji grabbed Night Sorrow's shoulder with her left hand and made Night Sorrow move with her. At the same time, she cursed and swung her sword. Night Sorrow's original speed could not keep up with Mo Tianji's. Now that Mo Tianji was carrying him, not only could he keep up, but he was also not in any danger. Being carried by Mo Tianji, Night Sorrow's soul slash continued to attack Zun Wulingzuan's soul defense. Why aren't you cursing anymore? Aren't you going to escape with your soul? Mo Tianji swung her sword and attacked with her words. She had communicated with Night Sorrow. As long as Zun Wulingzuan escaped, Night Sorrow would use the virtuous fire to trap him. Then, he would deal with the Calamity Realm's origin while she would deal with Zun Wulingzuan, who was controlled by the soul fire. Zun Wulingzuan also knew that the situation was not good. He was still more than 30,000 miles away from the Spirit Abyss. Normally, he could cross it in an instant. But now, it was the distance between life and death. Mo Tianji and Night Sorrow would not let him go back so easily. The two of them had devised such a meticulous plan and strategy to kill him. Chapter 2161. Wulingzuan continued to resist. After all, he was an 8th Emperor Tribulation cultivator. Even if he was heavily injured, he wouldn't fall down so easily. Mo Tianji was standing between Wulingzuan and Lingyuan. She kept pressuring Wulingzuan. Even if Wulingzuan dodged the attacks, he would only get further and further away from Lingyuan. #MF Yong Wuzhou, Free Watch 7C Talk. After being hit a few more times, Wulingzuan felt that he couldn't take it anymore. If this continued, he would definitely die. His soul leaving his body was the only way out. With a loud roar, Wulingzuan's body began to expand. He was going to self-destruct to cover the escape of his soul. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Soul Chain. Mo Tianji's forehead glowed. Then, a few cyan chains shot out and lashed Wulingzuan's body, interrupting his self-destruction. As a 9th Emperor Tribulation cultivator, how could Mo Tianji not have a soul attack? She hadn't used it because she wanted to restrict Wulingzuan's strange moves. Bastard. Wulingzuan didn't know how to describe his anger. Night Sorrow's domain and soul attack assisted Mo Tianji's battle, greatly reducing his combat power. Mo Tianji's cultivation was higher than his, and her attributes were more overbearing. Therefore, he was far from being her match. Now, he couldn't even self-destruct. Even if he couldn't self-destruct, Wulingzuan couldn't wait for death. He was a straightforward person. He gave up his body and his soul left his body to run. Virtuous fire, bind. The power of merit within Night Sorrow's merit Dao domain turned into flames, which flew out and trapped Sovereign Crow Spirit's soul. Then, the human Emperor's seal appeared in the air and suppressed Sovereign Crow Spirit's soul. Mo Tianji slashed with her long sword. Sword chi vibrated inside the virtuous fire and attacked Wulingzuan's soul. At the same time, Wu Lingzuan's body was put away. This way, Wu Lingzuan couldn't go back even if he wanted to. Wu Lingzuan kept roaring. He didn't expect his soul to be restricted and suppressed when it left his body. This shouldn't have happened. It was almost impossible to restrict the soul of a high-level Imperial Tribulation cultivator. Yan Wushuang and Mo Tianji used to be like this. Once her soul left her body, her opponent couldn't control it. Now, Wu Lingzuan's soul was being controlled because of many factors. Origin blessing. Sovereign Wu Lingzuan roared. He wanted to return to the spirit abyss alive and never come out again. But what shocked Venerable Black Spirit was that the Tribulation World's origin bead didn't care about him anymore. It left his soul and flew away. The moment the Tribulation origin bead left Crow Spirit Sovereign's soul body, Night Sorrow reacted. The 9 regions origin bead left his body, and at the same time, his soul power and virtue power supported the 9 regions origin bead to suppress the Tribulation origin bead. Then, he rushed towards the Tribulation origin bead. Leave your virtuous fire behind. Don't worry about anything else. Mo Tianji shouted at Yi Shang, who was leaving her. After controlling the 9 realm origin beads and the power of good karma to suppress the origin bead of the Tribulation realm, Night Sorrow used the Samsara Nirvana Palm and the destructive True Dragon incantation in succession. He knew that he didn't have many chances. Once the origin bead gained sentience, it would be very powerful in its own world. It had just left its master, and it was currently in its most uncomfortable period. If he couldn't suppress it during this period, it would run back to the spirit abyss. Under the suppression of the 9 regions origin bead, the Tribulation World's origin bead's movement was suppressed. Next, Yi Shang's Samsara Nirvana Palm slapped it so hard that it could no longer fly. It nearly fell to the ground. At the same time, Yi Shang's destructive True Dragon formula struck its body. When the Tribulation origin bead's intelligence was unstable, Night Sorrow reached out with his left hand and grabbed the Tribulation origin bead. Sacred Scripture Blessing. Night Sorrow roared. The golden characters of the sacred scripture of human Tao appeared on his left hand and tightly wrapped around the Tribulation origin bead. The Tribulation origin bead kept shaking, but it couldn't break free. Night Sorrow's fire of virtue trapped the Black Spirit Sovereign's soul and burned it. The Black Spirit Sovereign's soul fled with the fire of virtue, but it couldn't escape the range of the human Emperor's seal. Its struggle grew weaker and weaker. Mo Tianji's attacks never stopped. Sword chi and soul chains bombarded it, constantly wearing down its soul power. Yi Shang looked at the Tribulation World origin bead in his left hand, which was trembling but unable to escape his control. He put the 9 region origin bead back into his divine sea. Then, he used his origin power to suppress the Tribulation World origin bead. Unable to escape, the Black Spirit Sovereign of the Tribulation of 8 Emperors dissipated after taking more than 70 strikes from Mo Tianji. Damn! Were you the one who killed the last one? What a loss. Mo Tianji said to Night Sorrow after collecting the storage ring dropped by the Black Spirit Sovereign's soul flame. My fire of virtue burned continuously without any gaps. Your sword chi had gaps, so the last one to destroy his soul was mine. Night Sorrow smiled. At Mo Tianji and Night Sorrow's level, they were very sensitive to the Tao of Fortune. After the death of the Black Spirit Sovereign, the Heavenly Tao recognized their contributions to the celestial realm. Mo Tianji realized that Night Sorrow had more Tao of Fortune than her. Let's go. Let's hurry back to the celestial realm and break this. That's the biggest benefit. I'll let you do it. Night Sorrow pointed his chin at the Tribulation origin bead in his left hand. In order to speed up, Mo Tianji grabbed Night Sorrow's arm and flew with Night Sorrow. The two of them wanted to return to the celestial realm to deal with the Tribulation origin bead. This way, they could increase the Doomsday Tao of Fortune for the last era of the celestial realm. After arriving at the stronghold, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji used the teleportation formation to teleport. At this time, the two of them didn't care who was at the spatial tunnel entrance. After exiting the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow clasped the Tribulation Origin bead in his hands and nodded at Mo Tianji. Begin. Under the surprised gazes of Lu Qi, Huang Ling, Green Rock Forefather, and the others, Mo Tianji attacked the Tribulation Origin bead with her sword. After 3 strikes, the Tribulation Origin bead that had left its own world was shattered by Mo Tianji. This time, the two of them received the same amount of Tao of Fortune. After the Tribulation Origin bead shattered, the origin power it contained spread. However, only half of it spread. The other half was absorbed by the 9 Realms Origin bead in Night Sorrow's Divine Sea. We need to hurry back. There are probably still treasures in the Spirit Abyss, Mo Tianji said to Night Sorrow. 7th Elder, the leader of the Tribulation Origin bead, Black Spirit Sovereign, is dead. Don't let the Black Iron Army near the spatial tunnel escape. After shouting, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji entered the spatial tunnel entrance and used the teleportation formation to continue teleporting. Enforcer Elder, what's going on? Green Rock Forefather asked. Chapter 2162. What's going on? How can a war be fought so quickly and so quickly? We're just watching the door. Long Yixing looked at Lu Qi and the others in surprise. He didn't expect this outcome. We're old. We're already old. We don't understand the world of the young. This speed is too overbearing. Methods, strategies, and strength are all indispensable. That person is very strong, Huang Ling said. She had some guesses, but since no one said anything, she didn't ask. According to Night Sorrow's orders, Azure Dragon King, Green Rock Forefather, Soul Emperor, will all enter and completely wipe out the Black Iron Army near the entrance. Then, we'll wait for Night Sorrow to return, Lu Qi said. His clone and Pu Luo were in Black Spirit Palace. His original body was guarding here. The attack on Black Spirit Palace was also nearing its end. Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji took the teleportation array to the stronghold. Then, they flew toward the Spirit Abyss. The Spirit Abyss was the core area of the Tribulation Realm. It was where the origin beads were produced. There would definitely be spirit stones there. This was also why Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji hurried back. Anyone would be excited if there were treasures. Night Sorrow's original body, who was cultivating at the top of the Heaven Wasteland Tower, felt the growth of his power of merit. It was a leap in growth. He had contributed a lot to the Celestial Realm this time. He had prevented the 100 races of the Celestial Realm from being affected by the flames of war. If it wasn't for his merit cultivation reaching level 6, he would have leveled up. In the Tribulation Realm, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji flew straight toward the depths of the Spirit Abyss. The forbidden reincarnation energy of the Spirit Abyss only suppressed them a little. It didn't hurt them. After 4 hours, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji arrived at the edge of the Spirit Abyss sinkhole. That bastard Black Spirit Sovereign really knows how to choose a place. The spirit chi here is really dense. Mo Tianji sighed. Let's go. There are no world origins or cultivators here. There shouldn't be anything that can threaten our safety. Night Sorrow then flew into the sinkhole. He wanted to see the bottom of the sinkhole. First Mo Tianji followed Night Sorrow into the sinkhole. The sinkhole was really deep. Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji flew for hundreds of miles before reaching the bottom of the sinkhole. The bottom of the sinkhole was filled with surging reincarnation energy and energy smoke. Such dense energy, there must be treasures at the bottom of the pit. Let's dig. Night Sorrow took out a saber that he had obtained from Lu Xing's Legion commander and started digging. Mo Tianji extravagantly took Sovereign Wu Ling's war blade and started digging. At the same time, she said, in a bit, we'll open Sovereign Wu Ling's ring and split the resources. Also, what do you plan to do with Sovereign Wu Ling's corpse? If I had killed the Black Spirit Sovereign myself, I would have placed him in the 9-domain world's heaven-sealing Great Hall and let the world's origin energy cleanse his soul imprint. Then, would have refined him into a puppet and thrown him into Tianhuang City to be used in battle. But Sovereign Wu Ling was killed by us together. If I did that, it would be the same as setting you up for injustice. So, after we deal with him, let him stay in 9-domain world as a guard, Night Sorrow said. Thank you. Mo Tianji nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow had considered everything that he could for her. Stop being so pretentious. Let's dig. Night Sorrow said as he dug. Life without passion is lacking friends. If you want to live happily, then you have to meet the right person at the right time. Mo Tianji also started digging. Night Sorrow did not reply. He had heard of this before. He remembered that it was a bridge between a man and a woman. Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji dug very quickly. They dug out a hole in a short while. Feeling that it was dark, Mo Tianji took out a spirit stone and pinned it in her hair. That way, there would be light. I've never done this before. Mo Tianji muttered as she dug behind Night Sorrow. After digging for a quarter of an hour, they saw spirit stones. They were all top-grade Saint Spirit stones. There are top-grade Saint Spirit stones at the edge, and there are Monarch Spirit stones and Emperor Spirit stones in the middle. Sovereign Wu Ling did not dig. Night Sorrow said excitedly. Mo Tianji shook her head. This is his territory. Why would he need to dig? Also, collecting spirit stones is harmful to the origin of the world. Heaven Wasteland Domain's lack of resources and spirit chi was due to the large amount of spirit stone mines. 9-domain world must not do this. You are the domain lord. You have absolute control. This matter must be controlled. I will. Later, I will give the order. The spirit stone mines of 9-domain world will all be managed by the Commander-in-Chief's residence. If you want resources, go to other dimensions and other worlds to dig. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Mo Tianji's words made sense. With a domain lord and a powerful ruler, the future of 9-domain world will be different from Heaven Wasteland Domain and Celestial Realm. The future is very good. What is blocking us now is the God-destroying tribulation. We can only talk about this after we pass it. Thinking of the future, Mo Tianji thought of the God-destroying tribulation. It was a mountain that blocked everyone's path. It was an insurmountable mountain that could not be ignored. Tianji, didn't your Demon Wing clan almost pass the God-destroying tribulation? Don't you have anything to learn? Night Sorrow asked as he dug. Learn. What's the use of knowing you can't do it? The God-destroying tribulation has high requirements for both the body and the soul. Your master, Yan Wushuang, encountered the tribulation. After his body was destroyed, the human emperor's seal protected his soul. What does this mean? It means that his body is not strong enough. The previous Demon Wing clan's demon ancestor was talented. His body was strong, but his soul was weak. In the end, his soul was destroyed. Mo Tianji told him what she knew. After hearing Mo Tianji's words, Yi Shang understood. The God Annihilation Tribulation tested both the soul and the body. Any flaw would result in the annihilation of the tribulation. Night Sorrow, you have high potential now. Maybe you have a chance. Work hard. Mo Tianji said as she dug. Night Sorrow did not say anything. Whether it was for himself, his family, or his friends, he had to work hard. As Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji dug, they saw supreme-grade Saint Spirit stones. After digging another 20 feet, Lord Spirit stones appeared. Yi Shang dug at the front while Mo Tianji dug at the back and collected the spirit stones at the same time. We've earned big this time. Lord Spirit stones. I've never seen one before. Night Sorrow said emotionally. You say it as if I've seen one before. I've never seen one in the Heaven Wasteland Domain. After I was born, the Celestial Realm was in its last reincarnation. There were no high-grade spirit stones. Where could I see one? Mo Tianji said as she dug. Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji became miners and started digging in the Lingyuan sinkhole. The battle at Black Spirit Palace was also coming to an end. Only a few people were still being chased. Chapter 2163. Alliance Master is too mean. We've only fought a few rounds, we haven't even had our fill yet. Pu Luo muttered. In this apocalyptic war, Knight Zoro's men only fought 2 battles. They fought the Meteor Corps and Fire Dance Corps, and it was a one-sided massacre. After muttering, Pu Luo arranged for people to clean up the battlefield. Black Spirit Palace was Black Spirit Supremacy's lair, so there were some good spoils of war that needed to be collected. Knight Zoro and Mo Tianji were at the bottom of the sinkhole, constantly digging for high-level spirit stones. Heavenly G, we've earned a lot this time. I thought there would be high-level spirit stones, but I didn't expect there to be so many of such high quality. It'll be great if a few more of these apocalyptic tribulations come. Knight Zoro was very excited. You're quite ambitious. Finding a high-level spirit stone vein already shows your heaven-defying luck. How many more do you plan on finding? How many more apocalyptic tribulations? If a tyrannical soul fusion world comes, then cry. Mo Tianji looked at Knight Zoro with disdain. Some things need to be thought about. Only by thinking about it can you do something. If you don't even think about it, then I don't know how to describe it. Knight Zoro didn't agree with Mo Tianji's words. Thinking about it. You're right. Mo Tianji smiled and thought about it deeply. She felt that Knight Zoro was right. Knight Zoro and Mo Tianji dug in the sinkhole for half a day and dug out all the spirit stones. This was a tribulation world, and the source was destroyed. The 2 of them didn't need to cherish it, so they directly dug it out. After cleaning up, the 2 left the sinkhole and the spirit abyss. Outside the spirit abyss, Knight Zoro patted his robes. Digging for spirit stones was also hard work. Mo Tianji also combed her hair. After being tossed around in the sinkhole for half a day, her hair was a bit messy. After the 2 cleaned up, Knight Zoro brewed a pot of tea. Heavenly G, it's been hard on you this time. You treat me as a friend, so there's no need to be so polite. Mo Tianji laughed. She was truly grateful to Knight Zoro. It was not because of anything else but Knight Zoro's respect. No matter who it was in front of, Knight Zoro deliberately maintained his dignity towards her. Alright, then I won't stand on ceremony. Knight Zoro smiled. That's right. After Mo Tianji finished speaking, she took out their gains, including the storage ring they had taken from Black Spirit Sovereign. There was a mountain of spirit stones in front of them. The 2 of them dug into the pit and gained a lot. That's a lot. You take it first. The rest is mine. I can finally replenish my resources. Knight Zoro's eyes lit up when he saw the spirit stones. What surprised Knight Zoro was that Mo Tianji had only taken a little. It was not even a 10th. Do you think I'm taking too little? At my current level, I mainly need to comprehend the realm. As for you, you need to support the development of the 9-domain world. The consumption of resources is relatively large. I'll just take a little. It's enough for me to get some luck from this battle. Mo Tianji looked at Knight Zoro and said. She knew that if she did not explain, Knight Zoro would not let it go. Take a little more. You still need high-grade spirit stones. Knight Zoro shook his head. I just took a monarch spirit stone. Alright, we're friends. There's no need to be polite between friends. Just take it. If I need more, I'll look for you. When I took your Ash God stone, I wasn't polite either. Mo Tianji explained. That's fine too. Knight Zoro nodded. He sorted the spirit stones and put them away. After putting away the spirit stones, Knight Zoro confirmed how much he had gained this time. Aside from the Saint Spirit Stones and extreme-grade Saint Spirit Stones, there were more than 200,000 Monarch Spirit Stones and close to 10,000 Emperor Spirit Stones. There were also more than 100 Spirit Stones that surpassed Emperor Spirit Stones. If they had to be categorized, they would be Emperor Spirit Stones. Night Sorrow, don't take Sovereign Black Spirit's crystal core. After the 9-domain world's origin energy erases all the imprints in his body, the puppet refined will be very strong. Give him this saber too. Mo Tianji took out Sovereign Black Spirit's corpse and weapon and handed it to Night Sorrow. If that's the case, you'll be a laborer in this battle. It's not suitable. Night Sorrow frowned as he looked at Mo Tianji. Resources aren't important to me. What's important is that I've gained luck after changing my identity. I've gained the approval of the heavenly Tao. Also, I've confirmed that our friendship is deep enough. Isn't that enough? Mo Tianji smiled. Night Sorrow thought about it and didn't say anything else. He felt that formality wasn't important. If Mo Tianji needed any help in the future, he would do his best to support her. After dealing with the resource issue, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji flew back to the encampment. They both knew that the tribulation world was about to become a barren world. It wouldn't be long before it turned into ashes. Its existence was just a tribulation of the celestial realm. Once the tribulation was over, it shouldn't exist anymore. When Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji arrived near the encampment, Mo Tianji entered the Origin Enlightened Treasure Pavilion and let Night Sorrow fly with it. She didn't want to see other people if she didn't have to. Pu Luo and Long Jin had already returned with their men. When they dealt with the Black Spirit Palace's men, Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji had killed Black Spirit Supremacy at the same time. When Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji were digging for spirit stones, they cleaned up the battlefield and returned to the encampment. Alliance Master, the Black Spirit Palace's men have been eliminated, Pu Luo reported to Night Sorrow. Very good. Everyone has worked hard. My side is also very smooth. Black Spirit Supremacy has been eliminated. Pu Luo, you take the 2 armies to the spatial passage and work with the 7 elders to completely eliminate the Black Iron Legion. Clean up the remaining ones as well. Misty, Great Demon King, Long Jin, you take the 1st army and the God-slaying team to walk around this world. If you encounter any Tribulation Realm warriors, kill them and try your luck. Pu Luo, after you're done, take some people to explore this world. If there's any danger, crush my communication crystal. I'll be cultivating in this encampment for the time being, Night Sorrow instructed. After listening to Night Sorrow's arrangements, Pu Luo and the others set off with their teams. It could be said that the outcome of the Tribulation Realm had been decided. All that was left was to wrap things up. Everyone dismantled their tents and left, leaving only Night Sorrow behind. Mo Tianji appeared soon after. Night Sorrow also told her to return to the 9 regions world because she needed to use this time to nurture her doppelganger. Then be careful. This is my soul crystal. If you need help, crush it and I'll rush over. With your medallion, the guards of the teleportation formations won't stop me. Mo Tianji took out a soul crystal and handed it to Night Sorrow. After sending Mo Tianji away, Night Sorrow took out the clear sky godly pagoda and began to cultivate. After every battle, he would learn from the strengths of others to strengthen himself. At this time, in the Heavenly Wasteland City, in the Grand Elder's small space world, Emperor Tang reported the situation of the Tribulation Realm to the Grand Elder. Chapter 2164. After the apocalypse came, it was Patriarch Yi who made the arrangements. In addition, Patriarch Yi led his subordinates to destroy the Meteor Core and Fire Dance Core of the enemy's 3 major core without falling. The Azure Dragons, Ice Phoenixes, and Azure Rocks guarded the spatial passage and fought against the Black Iron Legion. There were some casualties, Emperor Tang said. After Night Sorrow made his debut, he led his team to conquer the world. He has never been defeated, and he always defeated the strong as the weak. In the field of commanding, he is a great talent and has the temperament of a king. I can't compare to him in this field. It's his charisma. The Grand Elder sighed. He put himself in Night Sorrow's shoes and realized that he couldn't do it as well. His charisma is very strong. During the battle, he charged at the front and killed the commander of the Meteor Legion. More than half of the Legion leaders died at his hands. In the end, they were destroyed by his subordinates in the form of formations. After the commander and Legion leaders of the Fire Dance Legion were subdued, they lost their combat power and were easily destroyed by formations. In addition, Wu Lingzuan, who had Tribulation 8 Emperor's cultivation in the Spirit Abyss, may have been killed as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have obtained the world's origin and destroyed it in the celestial realm. Emperor Tang said. He understood the situation from Pu Luo. Everyone has their own secrets and trump cards. Don't try to pry. It will make people dislike you. He doesn't need to prove his ability and strength to others, and he doesn't need to prove it to anyone. It's enough that he won. When they return, we must celebrate. Little guy, we can't look at him as a little guy anymore. He's a powerhouse who controls the celestial realm. Even if we old guys aren't here, it won't be a problem for him to command the 100 Race Alliance in the celestial realm. The Grand Elder smiled. He was very pleased that the 100 Race Alliance in the celestial realm had a successor. Emperor Tang also nodded. The Grand Elder was telling the truth. Knight Sorrow's strength and connections were now enough. The most difficult to mobilize Divine Beast clans were willing to give Knight Sorrow face. It was rare that all the Divine Beast clans were willing to give face to him. One had to know that in the past, the dragon race was not very obedient to orders. The black dragon race was at odds with the 100 races of the heaven realm. The green dragon race lived their own lives. If they wanted to listen to the orders of the elders, they would. If they didn't want to, they would pretend that they didn't know anything. The green rock race was also very arrogant, but when Yishang needed them, they were very active. The Grand Elder and Emperor Tang talked for a while. He planned to announce that he would no longer be in charge of the elders after the matters in the world of tribulations were completely over and everyone returned. He planned to let the Great Demon King and Lin Piaomiao take over. However, the elders would be under the control of the City Master's office. This arrangement was made because the young people of the 100 races in the celestial realm were rising. In addition, he had successfully reached the tribulation of 9 emperors and was going into seclusion to break through to the soul unification stage. He had to work hard for the final battle. When Emperor Tang heard that the Grand Elder was going to abdicate, he was worried because the Great Demon King had a bad temper. If he took over the position of Grand Elder, he could easily cause a big incident. However, when he heard that the elders would be under the control of the City Master's office, he was relieved. The elders being under the control of the City Master's office was a pattern in times of war. It was almost the same pattern in the last era of every reincarnation. Who was in charge of the City Master's office now? It was Tran Hung. If not Tran Hung, who was in charge? Of course, it was Knight Sorrow, the son of the City Master. In addition, Knight Sorrow was also the elder in charge of the elders' law enforcement. Everyone was familiar with this. There was another point. When the Grand Elder and Lu Qi abdicated, the 2 people who took over were also from the Humanitarian League. Who was under the command of the Humanitarian League? It was Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow didn't know about these things. He was in the realm of calamity, cultivating and studying the power of battle techniques. He continued to cultivate the heavenly sword technique. Although he mainly cultivated the Wuji attribute, he also studied the complete heavenly sword technique. He cultivated the heavenly reincarnation spear technique and the heavenly beginning spear technique. These were both secret techniques that were used to support and fight. While cultivating the heavenly spear technique, Knight Sorrow continued to cultivate the immortal body of merits. This was his specialty. There were people in the celestial realm who cultivated the body, but no one was better at it than him. Tran Hung, King Yowu, and other emperors' tribulation cultivators also cultivated the body. However, they relied on their vital qi cultivation to strengthen their bodies. They were different from Knight Sorrow's basic cultivation. As he cultivated, Knight Sorrow found that his body already had Taoist rhymes. His flesh and bones were all golden red crystals. The crystals were full of characters that he didn't understand. Although he didn't understand much, Night Sorrow knew that this was the result of his body's cultivation. Outside the body, the protective energy had Taoist rhyme characters. It was called the Dharma robe. Inside the body, there were Taoist rhyme characters. Night Sorrow didn't know what to call them. While he was cultivating his body, Yi Shang was also writing the Myriad Tao Tome. The Myriad Tao Tome used to have 8 levels, which could only be cultivated up to the level 8 King Realm. Now, Night Sorrow had reached the level 9. The Myriad Tao Tome was created by one of the 2 lords of heaven in the world of Samsara, a cultivator with the title of Human Sovereign. Now, Night Sorrow's achievements were much higher than his. Night Sorrow was very grateful to him because the Myriad Tao Tome had laid a solid foundation for him. It had allowed him to accumulate far more than ordinary people. Thinking of the Lord of Heaven with the title of Human Sovereign, Night Sorrow pondered for a while. He knew that the title of Human Sovereign was okay in the world of Samsara, but not in the celestial realm. If the title was too great, the Human Sovereign wouldn't be able to bear it. On the contrary, it would hurt his fate and lead to his death. That Human Sovereign had died in the Heaven Vault tribe. Night Sorrow still had to deal with this matter. There was a cause and effect between them. He cultivated the Myriad Tao Tome and owed it to the Human Sovereign for imparting skills to him. It was only right for him to seek justice. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the world of tribulation became the world of Night Sorrow's subordinates. Night Sorrow's subordinates separated according to their teams. They cleaned up the fish that escaped the net in the world of tribulation and looked for opportunities. The world of tribulation was at the level of a macro world. The spirit abyss was located in the core area, where there were high-level spiritual stone veins. It was normal for there to be small veins in other areas. Of course, these small veins were compared to the high-level spiritual stone veins discovered by Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji. It should be known that only the top mines in the celestial realm could produce holy spirit stones. Near the entrance of the space tunnel, the 3 mythical beasts clans completely annihilated the Black Iron Army. This announced that the Doomsday Tribulation had truly passed. Ig Yong V Gio and B equals Fei X. Look at little q. After the Doomsday Tribulation passed, Lu Qi came to ask Night Sorrow if he could open the world of tribulation for ordinary cultivators to gain experience and feel the aura of the hostile world. They could also look for opportunities while they were at it. Night Sorrow apologized to Lu Qi because he had already made such arrangements. After his subordinates cleaned up, there should not be much left. After listening to Night Sorrow's explanation, Lu Qi smiled and said, "This is luck and opportunity. Your subordinates fought at the forefront, so they naturally have the qualifications to obtain opportunities in advance. As for the others, whether they can obtain opportunities or not depends on fate." That's true. Night Sorrow nodded. Chapter 2165. There's nothing I need to hear. I'll just follow whatever instructions the elders have. Night Sorrow smiled. That won't do. This is the Grand Elder's wish. Night Sorrow, you're now the Elder's law enforcement elder. If the Grand Elder convenes the Elders' meeting, there's no reason for you not to go. Lu Qi patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. The Grand Elder has come out of seclusion. That means his breakthrough went smoothly. When I return, I'll congratulate the Grand Elder. Night Sorrow was relieved after hearing Lu Qi's words. He knew that the Grand Elder had gone to attempt the tribulation of 9 emperors and was worried. The tribulation of 9 emperors was a major hurdle. It was the last stage of the Emperor's tribulation. It wasn't easy to pass it. It was a test of one's past experience. Knew most for a fastest %5 hashtag, when the time comes, I'll look for you. Lu Qi chatted with Night Sorrow for a while before leaving. He could tell that Night Sorrow was still in a state of cultivation. After Lu Qi left, Yi Shan once again immersed himself in cultivation. His current path was based on his true body's cultivation realm. His 2 avatars would study battle skills and gain insights from cultivating battle skills. His true body would also gain insights. The tribulation realm became lively. Knight Sorrow's subordinates left the tribulation realm in batches. They had found 2 mineral veins and had gained a lot. Knight Sorrow didn't leave. His original body was in Tianhuang City and he had doppelgangers in the 9 domains world. If there was anything, he could find him at any time. No one disturbed Knight Sorrow's cultivation. The other cultivators were the same. When others were cultivating, no one would disturb them unless something major happened. When Knight Sorrow's 9 domains doppelgangers were cultivating, he was also paying attention to the god-slaying squad's cultivation in the Heaven's Sealing Hall. He wasn't willing to abandon any of his brothers. Currently, the god-slaying squad members who hadn't reached the Monarch realm were all in seclusion in the Heaven's Sealing Hall. Only when they reached the Monarch realm could they return to the god-slaying squad. This was what they were looking forward to the most. In the god-slaying squad, everyone lived together, cultivated together, and fought together for many years. Now that they had left the squad, they felt like they had lost their faith. The cultivation conditions in the Heaven's Sealing Great Hall were very good. As the world evolved, the momentum of heaven and earth was very strong. It was suitable for breaking through to the Emperor Realm, and also suitable for Emperor Realm cultivators. Qing Ji was also cultivating inside. She was trying to break through to the Emperor Realm. Yi Shang noticed that Qing Ji's comprehension of the force of heaven and earth was not bad. She had surpassed 80%. If she worked harder, she would be able to break through to the 9th level. After asking around, Knight Sorrow learned that all his subordinates had left the world of calamities. He was relieved. He packed up his tent and returned to the heavenly desolate city with Lu Qi. The meeting of the elders was a major event. If it wasn't important, the desolate city lord, Tran Hung, wouldn't have returned. After returning to the heavenly desolate city, Knight Sorrow went to the Grand Elder's small space world to congratulate him. When he arrived, he found that the desolate city lord and King Yowu were both there. The 3 of them were chatting and drinking tea. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands in greeting and sat across from the 3 of them. Your merit cultivation has advanced. You're wearing a Dharma robe. Your flesh and blood are filled with Taoist rhymes. We haven't seen each other for a short time. Knight Sorrow, your progress is very gratifying. Tran Hung smiled and sized up Knight Sorrow. If there's anything I don't understand, I, Knight Sorrow, will consult you. Knight Sorrow said. He wouldn't use words like luck or opportunity to be modest. That would be a denial of his own efforts. You're still as polite as ever. Your current situation is generally a feature that only appears after entering the tribulation of the 7 emperors. When cultivators enter the tribulation of the 7 emperors, their precept domain will deepen and form a Dharma robe. As for the Taoist rhymes cultivated by the body, it's called the Taoist physique. Some cultivators in the tribulation of the 7 emperors can't cultivate it. Only those with talent in this area can do it. Generally, only those who enter the tribulation of the 8 emperors and the tribulation of the 9 emperors can do it. You're far ahead of everyone, Tran Hung said. So this is called the Taoist physique. I didn't know it before. Knight Sorrow understood what his body was. You resolved the apocalypse tribulation beautifully. You also did well with that matter. In terms of experts, the devil-winged race is at a disadvantage compared to us. They don't have the possibility of invading. However, we still have to work hard. The Devil Imperial City is a fortress left behind by the devil-winged race's progenitor in the celestial realm. When the celestial realm enters the sub-supreme grade world, they still have a lifespan of thousands of reincarnations. If we don't resolve the Devil Imperial City, it will be a nail that can pierce into the heart of the 100 races of the celestial realm. Tran Hung said. The matter he was referring to was the matter of Mo Tianji. That's right. The Devil Imperial City is a thorn in the heart of the 100 races of the celestial realm. My current merit cultivation is roughly at the 6th rank of the Emperor realm. Another rank and I will reach the merit Emperor realm. Although it's difficult, it's not completely hopeless. Night Sorrow said. He already knew that in order to break the Devil Imperial City, one had to have the strength to survive the God-vanquishing tribulation or an Emperor-rank fire of virtue. It was only in theory that an Emperor-rank fire of virtue could break the Devil Imperial City. Take it slow. An epoch isn't long, but it isn't short either. Haha. I was just about to say that we can accompany you for one last epoch, but I realized that you are the same. There's no such thing as accompanying each other. Tran Hung said with a smile. Night Sorrow also smiled. He had touched the forbidden energy in advance and made his lifespan the same as a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. As they chatted, Tran Hung talked about some changes in the Council of Elders. The Grand Elder and Lu Qi were both planning to abdicate and go into seclusion to cultivate. In terms of the replacement, the Heavenly Desolation City Lord made some adjustments. In the past, we felt that you could lead the entire situation even if we weren't around as the young City Lord. Therefore, we felt that the Great Demon King was ambitious and was suitable for the Grand Elder's position. Sect Elder Lin had a righteous personality and was suitable for the disciplined Sect Elder. However, the situation has changed. You have to cultivate hard just like us. Therefore, there are some things that you can't do by yourself. Also, our strength has surpassed the devil-winged race. Therefore, we must be firm and steady. Under such circumstances, it's more appropriate to swap the Great Demon King and Sect Elder Lin. One with a steady personality will control the situation while the other will be in charge of the discipline and maintain our internal stability. What do you think? Tran Hung looked at Night Sorrow and asked. City Lord, Senior Uncle, and Grand Elder, it's up to you. It's not appropriate for me to get involved in these matters, Night Sorrow said. You still don't know the situation. The Heavenly Desolation City and the Council of Elders have started a war. In the coming days, the races of the Celestial Realm will be controlled by the Heavenly Desolation City and the Divine Capital will cooperate. You are the young City Lord of 2 cities. Are you not going to get involved? The Grand Elder shook his head at Night Sorrow's attitude of wanting to stay out of the matter. Then I'll follow the arrangement. Night Sorrow realized that some of the responsibilities were already on him, so he couldn't shirk them. Chapter 2166. Night Sorrow nodded in agreement. He knew that King Yowu felt that it was inconvenient for him to speak because he was a law enforcement patriarch. They were both law enforcement patriarchs, so they couldn't differentiate between the two. This was for his own good. During the chat, Tran Hung asked Night Sorrow about the aftermath of the subdued people. If it wasn't dealt with properly, it would be a hidden danger. Night Sorrow knew that the City Lord and King Yowu were both experienced and knowledgeable. They wouldn't make any mistakes, so he told them about his plan to see if there were any flaws. It's very thorough. There are oaths in the Celestial Realm and the 9-domain world, so some hidden dangers are eliminated. Of course, after the Celestial Realm's origin left, the oaths in the Celestial Realm are much less binding. However, they're the life imprints of the 9-domain world, so they're completely under your control, the City Lord said. Night Sorrow nodded. He also knew that in a world without the origin of a world, the heavenly oath would only be punished by the heavens. Without the origin of a world, the heavenly oath would only attack. Latest DJ Chapter S section _unspecified currency. Is that person very peaceful? King Yowu asked. She's very good. She gets along with me as a friend. She helped me kill Wu Lingzuan. Night Sorrow explained the situation. She's a strong cultivator. Since she doesn't give you any attitude, you should give her more respect, Tran Hung said with a smile. King Yowu and the Grand Elder also had the same attitude. They were all top cultivators. Apart from the fact that they were rivals, they all respected each other. After staying for a while, Night Sorrow returned to his residence. He would have a meeting tomorrow and wait for the results. After Night Sorrow left, Tran Hung and the other 2 were still talking. With the cultivation of the tribulation of 3 emperors, being able to protect oneself in front of a tribulation of 5 emperors is already an amazing achievement. Since ancient times, no one has dared to say that a tribulation of 3 emperors could kill a tribulation of 5 emperors, but Night Sorrow did it. Keep this momentum, and when you reach the tribulation of the 7 emperors, it will be the same as what we expected. When you reach the tribulation of the 9 emperors, you will have the power of the God annihilating tribulation. Even if you don't, your attack power will be immeasurable. With the help of the fire of virtue, maybe you can break the demon imperial city, Tran Hung said. If we can break into the demonic imperial city, then the crisis will be resolved. Even if we can't make it through the God-slaying tribulation, we will be able to rest in peace. Sigh. But it is difficult for Night Sorrow. He had a great future, but because we didn't do anything, he gave up a few epochs worth of lifespan. This makes my heart ache. The Grand Elder shook his head and sighed. It is not inevitable. Night Sorrow has the origin of the world in him. His merit cultivation is deep, and his body and soul cultivation are both improving. Immortality is no longer a potential, it is a fact. Taking a step back, he has a lot of merit, and he has the Human Emperor's seal and the Dowda of the Human Emperor's ceremony. If he can't make it through the God-slaying tribulation, he won't necessarily die. Wushuang is an example. In terms of foundation, Wushuang and Night Sorrow cannot be compared. Tran Hung shared some of his conjectures. That is true. If he can accumulate merit to the level of a merit emperor, then his ability to protect himself will be even stronger. King Yowu said. Let's not talk about this for now. Let's wait until Night Sorrow reaches that level. Now that he has cut off his own path of retreat, we can't let him lose his momentum. Tran Hung said. City Lord, is there no sign of the great prophecy art? Grand Elder pondered for a while and asked. No. In the last epoch, the great prophecy art was still effective. After entering the last epoch of the celestial realm, the heavenly mysteries are in chaos, and nothing can be predicted. If I had known earlier, I would have spent some of my cultivation to look deeper. Tran Hung helplessly shook his head. Not long after Night Sorrow returned to his residence, a few elders of the Humanitarian League came. The members of the God-slaying team were also present. League Master, you are really unkind this time. We didn't do much in the tribulation realm, and you are done for, Pu Luo said. They are just those people. What can I do? However, I have some gifts for everyone. Night Sorrow smiled and took out some Monarch Spirit Stones. These are Monarch Spirit Stones. They are high-grade goods. We also got some. Captain, did you have a big harvest? Long Jean looked at the pile of Monarch Spirit Stones beside Night Sorrow and asked. That's right. Take this 10,000 and divide it among yourselves. Don't use it recklessly. Every time you use it, you'll have one less piece. When you need to set up a formation, use it as the formation's core. The formation's power will increase and you can use it to save your life, Yishang reminded Long Jean and the others. Knowing that Night Sorrow still had more high-grade spirit stones, Long Jean and the others didn't stand on ceremony and took the Monarch Spirit Stones to divide. You know about the Elders' meeting, right? Looking at the Great Demon King, Lin Piaomiao, and the others who held positions in the Elders' meeting, Night Sorrow felt that there were some things he should say in advance. I know. It doesn't matter how you arrange it. If you go to war, we will just follow you. Pu Luo's thoughts were simpler. Great Demon King, the City Lord and the Grand Elder have changed their minds. They think that you are more suitable to be the Discipline Elder. Night Sorrow said. He didn't want the Great Demon King to have any thoughts or dissatisfaction. Good. This suits me. I will deal with whoever has bad character. If I really care about everything, it will be very annoying. Let Elder Lin take over the position of the Grand Elder. The Great Demon King said. The City Lord, Martial Uncle King Yao, and the Grand Elder also have the same thoughts. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew in his heart that it was best if the Great Demon King didn't have any emotions. What he needed the most now was harmony. The Human Tao Alliance is going to take over the Council of Elders. Pu Luo smiled. The Humanitarian League was really strong now. Other than Fan Tian, who held a position in the Divine Capital, the rest of the 7 elders were from the elders' meeting. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow didn't mention that he was going to resign as the discipline elder. When the time came, he would just resign. After resting for a night, the guards of the Heaven Wasteland Tower notified Yi Shang and the others that they had arrived at the conference hall of the Heaven Wasteland Tower. This was Yi Shang's territory because he was the master of the Heaven Wasteland Tower. At this time, there was a big round table in the meeting hall. Many people were already seated. The city lord was sitting in the middle of the table, while King Yawu and the Grand Elder were on both sides. There was another seat between the city lord and King Yawu. Below King Yawu and the Grand Elder were the patriarchs of the various divine beast clans. They were also the supreme elders of the elders' meeting. Knight Sorrow arrived. The city lord waved at Knight Sorrow and asked him to sit between him and King Yawu. You are the young city lord of the twin cities of the celestial realm. You are most suitable to sit between us. After hesitating for a while, Knight Sorrow sat down. Lu Qi, Pu Luo, Lin Piaomiao, the great demon king, Yu Zhu, and Ruisi also found a place to sit. Chapter 2167. No one said anything. Sometimes, you only need to listen to the meeting. This is the last era of this reincarnation cycle, and also the last era of the celestial realm. The war mode has begun, and the arrangements for the war will be made by the City Lord Palace. I don't want to hear any discordant voices. Tran Hung said. Everyone has heard the City Lord's words. Also, I'll talk about some arrangements for the members of the Council of Elders. This is the result of the discussion between the law enforcement elder, myself, and the 2 city lords. I and the 7 elders will go into seclusion to cultivate. The Grand Elder will be replaced by Elder Lin Piaomiao, and the Discipline Elder will be replaced by the Great Demon King. After the meeting, we will officially take up our positions. The Grand Elder stood up and announced the arrangements. Everyone nodded. They recognized the abilities of Lin Piaomiao and the Great Demon King. Currently, there weren't many law enforcement elders above the 3 kings' tribulation in the Council of Elders. Knight Sorrow, I'll be looking for some missing worlds later to solve the problem. You'll be in charge of the City Lord Palace. After the meeting, I'll take you to take over the Tianhuang Steel Guards. Tran Hung looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Okay. By the way, seniors and elders, Knight Sorrow will be in charge of some things in the City Lord Palace. I also need to cultivate, so I won't be the law enforcement elder of the Council of Elders. Knight Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands at the elders. How can this be? We Azure Dragons will recognize you. Long Yixing was a little unwilling. In recent years, the Azure Dragons didn't interact much with the Council of Elders. Long Yixing didn't trust anyone. In his heart, he only felt that it was safe to trust Knight Sorrow. That's right, Elder Knight Sorrow. It's meaningless for you to leave the Council of Elders. Old Ancestor Green Rock said. Chief Dragons, Brother Green Rock, don't worry. Knight Sorrow is the young city lord of Tianhuang City. He should be the next city lord, but I don't want him to be under too much pressure, so I'll keep the city lord's position for a while longer. There's going to be a war soon, so Knight Sorrow will be in charge of the city lord's mansion's deployment, Tran Hung said. Hearing Tran Hung's words, Long Yixing and Patriarch Green Rock both sat down. Tran Hung was one of the most influential figures of the 100 Races Alliance in Celestial Realm for several eras. Apart from his powerful battle prowess, he was also a fair person. Everyone knew that. Then King Yawu also said that the Divine Capital would fully support the Heavenly Desolate City in times of war. Knight Sorrow, as the young city lord of the Divine Capital, could also mobilize any forces under the Divine Capital. Does anyone have any objections? Tran Hung asked. The meeting was very simple. In fact, it was just Tran Hung and the Grand Elder announcing some things. No one said anything. The arrangement was reasonable. In addition, Tran Hung's orders were not to be questioned. Since no one had any objections, the meeting was over. Things were decided just like that. After leaving the meeting hall, Knight Sorrow felt the burden on his shoulders become heavier again. Tran Hung did not really deal with the City Lord's mansion's matters, so the City Lord's mansion's matters would fall on him. Thinking about this, Knight Sorrow strolled back to the mansion. Inside the mansion, Knight Sorrow saw the people from the Humanitarian League. "You guys are getting bolder now." Pu Luo's face was full of smiles. "Pu Luo, Tran Hung and the Grand Elder didn't give you anything to do?" Yu Zhu was puzzled. Pu Luo was young among the law enforcement elders, but his strength was recognized as one of the top. It was not right that they did not give Pu Luo anything. "They asked me. I said I would help the league leader. After that, I had nothing to do." Pu Luo smiled. Lin Piaomiao and the others shook their heads helplessly. In order to avoid trouble, Pu Luo had thought of everything. While Lin Piaomiao and the others were chatting, Knight Sorrow kept thinking. It was easy for him to deal with things in the Nine Zones world. The main reason was that he was from the Nine Zones world. Whether in virtue or strength, he stood at the peak. However, in the celestial realm, it was not enough. It was hard to say whether his orders would be effective or not. It was also unknown whether someone would throw a tantrum. Knight Sorrow could not do things like pacify others. He also did not care about other people's feelings. While Knight Sorrow was thinking, Tran Hung and King Yawu arrived. Tran Hung was followed by a man. On the Chapter 3T of the Unspecified Currency Edition, there was an A. Subordinate Du Yueding greets the young Castellan. The man following Tran Hung bowed to Knight Sorrow. "Castellan, who is this?" Knight Sorrow helped Du Yueding up and looked at Tran Hung in confusion. "He is the commander of the Tianhuang Steel Guards." The Tianhuang Steel Guards are the elites that the Castle of Gods and Devils found from all over the world. Yueding is currently in charge of them. If you need them, you can mobilize them. Later on, you can go and take a look. They are cultivating in the accelerated time at the Tianhuang Cliff. Tran Hung said. Knight Sorrow understands. Knight Sorrow nodded. Don't feel pressured. If there is a war, just follow the strategy you used to command the war. Treat it as a realm war. In fact, it is just a bigger realm war. If there is a need, your uncle and I will listen to your orders. Tran Hung looked at Knight Sorrow and said. He knew that Knight Sorrow was under a lot of pressure. King Yawu patted Knight Sorrow's shoulder and told Knight Sorrow that there was no need to rush things. It was true that this was the last era, but an era was 100 billion years. It was hard to say when the war would start. The 100 Races Alliance of the Celestial Realm also had an absolute advantage. After talking with Knight Sorrow for a while, Tran Hung and King Yawu left. Then, the Grand Elder brought Emperor Tang, Qin Xinjia, and Xiao Jun to Knight Sorrow. The main purpose was to communicate. Lin Piaomiao and the Great Demon King had just been promoted, so there were some things that they needed to know. While the elders were talking, Knight Sorrow and the Grand Elder went to the side to drink tea and talk. Next, I will take the small world to Reincarnation Island for seclusion. The small world's weapon spirit will know your aura. You can go there at any time if you need anything, the Grand Elder said. He planned to guard Reincarnation Island. Yi Shang took out a storage ring. Great Elder, there are some monarch spirit stones inside. When you reach Reincarnation Island, you can use them to reinforce the array formation. This way, even if Mo Zhantian comes, you won't be at a disadvantage. Lord Spiritual Stones. The Grand Elder smiled and accepted it. Everyone was doing this for the celestial realm. He did not need to be polite. After the Grand Elder left, Knight Sorrow went to Heaven Wasteland Tower to find Tran Hung and King Yawu. He gave each of them 10,000 Lord Spiritual Stones. Some of the formations in Heaven Wasteland City and Shendu City were set up by the two of them. They needed to be strengthened. Looking at the storage ring, the two of them were shocked. Lord's spiritual stones were rare. They had never seen them before. Night Sorrow, you are young. It is not easy for you to accumulate some wealth. You can't squander so easily. You have to know that the 9 regions world will be the supreme world in the future. There will be many places that need high-grade spirit stones. Also, don't dig up the high-grade spirit stones produced by the 9 regions world if you can. It will hurt the future of the 9 regions world. Tran Hung reminded Night Sorrow. Chapter 2168. That's the right thing to do. If you need resources, don't dig at your doorstep. If you have the ability, go find them outside. Shen Huang nodded after hearing Yi Shang's words. He hadn't expected Yi Shang to have already made arrangements. King Yewu told Night Sorrow to keep an eye on him. There were many cultivators who dared to risk universal condemnation. If they couldn't keep an eye on them, they would secretly dig. Night Sorrow smiled and told Tran Hung and King Yewu that he knew the location of the important mineral veins in the 9 realms world. The 9 realms origin had told him that his 9 realms avatars had set up a grand formation there. He would know immediately if anyone touched them. Tran Hung and King Yewu glanced at each other. They felt that they had to change the way they looked at Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow's actions were watertight. He had considered everything that could be done. Yewu, I suddenly feel much more relaxed. With Night Sorrow here, we don't have to worry about anything. Tran Hung smiled and said. Yi Shang, after we cultivate to the soul unification stage, we only have one body. Your main body needs to cultivate, and your clone needs to take care of things when you have free time. Your senior brother is in charge of the law enforcement team, and your uncle Shi Yu is in charge of the law enforcement team. If you need to mobilize them, just inform them, King Yewu said to Yi Shang. Martial uncle, are you also going into seclusion? Night Sorrow looked at King Yewu in surprise. I won't go into seclusion. I'll cultivate here. If you need anything, just send a message. King Yewu smiled at Night Sorrow. At this moment, Night Sorrow was like a young man who didn't want to part with his elders. When Night Sorrow left, the city lord and King Yewu also followed him out of the Wasteland Tower. After leaving the Wasteland Tower, the city lord called Night Sorrow to the side of the Grand Martial Arts Arena. This place is guarded by treasures. It can form a triangle with the Wasteland Tower to guard the city. I used to guard the Wasteland Tower. Now that you are the master of the Wasteland Tower, I will come here if there is no problem. After speaking, Tran Hung's arms shook. The aura of a group of dragons appeared around his body and even roared. Then, a 9 dragons cauldron appeared in front of Night Sorrow and the other 2. The cauldron kept expanding until it was almost as tall as the Wasteland Tower. It has 1 more dragon than your 8 dragons cauldron. In the past, this cauldron was called the Cauldron of Heaven and Earth. It was a heavenly artifact. In the 7th era of this reincarnation cycle, I was patrolling the outer realms around the celestial realm. A 9-headed demon dragon appeared and attacked the celestial realm. Later, it became the spirit of the Cauldron of Heaven and Earth, and the Cauldron of Heaven and Earth became the 9 dragons cauldron, Tran Hung explained to Night Sorrow. In the celestial realm, not many people know about the 9 dragons cauldron, but almost all the cultivators in the outer realms know about it. King Yenwu smiled. Night Sorrow understood. Tran Hung didn't fight many times in the celestial realm. He had been solving some hidden dangers in the outer realms, so he was famous in the outer realms. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow returned to his mansion. After calming down, Night Sorrow cultivated his battle skills in the mansion. At the same time, he studied the cultivation of his body and the Myriad Tao Tome. Night Sorrow felt that the Myriad Tao Tome was a tome with great potential. If it could be perfected to the Emperor's tribulation level, it would be a lost art that could be handed down for generations. Not only did Night Sorrow continue to write the Myriad Taoist tome, but he also corrected the parts that did not make sense before the 8th level. With his current realm, he could easily find some flaws. Night Sorrow also called Yi Xiaokei over and asked him to cultivate the Myriad Tao tome from the beginning. Yi Shang had just stepped onto the path of cultivation, so it was very difficult for him to collect the resources needed to cultivate the Myriad Tao treasured tome. However, it was not a problem for Yi Xiaokei to get the materials needed to cultivate the Myriad Tao treasured tome. Yi Shang was an emperor-level alchemist, so he could easily refine some pills. Originally, Yi Xiaokei was very reluctant when Night Sorrow asked him to cultivate a low-level technique because he was already a king. In addition, cultivating the Myriad Tao tome was very painful. If his father hadn't insisted and didn't want to disappoint him, Yi Xiaokei wouldn't have wanted to cultivate it. However, when he cultivated to the 6th level, which was equivalent to the Qi refinement realm, he experienced the benefits of cultivating the Myriad Tao tome. Looking at the original Yi chapter. Chapter 3. On this day, when Night Sorrow was studying the new chapter of the Myriad Tao tome, Yi Xiaokei came out of the secret cultivation room. Father, my soul power has increased a lot compared to before. The blood energy in my body has also reached the level of vital essence smoke. Yi Xiaokei said excitedly when he came to Night Sorrow's side. You're still at the 6th level. We'll talk about it when you reach the undead realm. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Xiaokei and said. Father, what realm have you cultivated the Myriad Tao tome to? Yi Xiaokei asked. He only knew that his father cultivated the Myriad Tao tome, but he didn't know the details. The 9th level, the rebirth realm. However, the description of the reincarnation realm in the original book is wrong in many places. The rank 9 reincarnation realm is also for father to explore and cultivate. When you cultivate it, it should be correct. Yi Shang said to his son. The Myriad Tao tome originally had 9 levels: blood refining, tendon strengthening, bones forging, unification, path seeking, spirit refining, golden body, indestructible, and rebirth. The Lord of Heaven in the world of reincarnation didn't reach the 9th level. Therefore, he only deduced the 9th level of the rebirth realm roughly. There were many parts that were wrong. Night Sorrow was also exploring and cultivating and constantly making adjustments. Father, how far can the Myriad Tao tome be cultivated? What's the highest level of cultivation? Yi Xiaokei poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow and asked. You can pass the God-destroying tribulation and reach the legendary Divine Emperor realm, which is the God. Night Sorrow closed the book in his hand. Looking at the surprised Yi Xiaokei, Night Sorrow told him the reason why he said so. To pass the God-destroying tribulation, one's body and soul must be strong. The Myriad Tao tome first strengthened one's body and soul by 30%. This was equivalent to establishing a strong foundation. After listening to Night Sorrow's explanation, Yi Xiaokei understood. At the same time, there were some parts that he didn't understand. This was why Night Sorrow only taught it to him and not to his brothers and sisters. You should cultivate first. Your brothers and sisters are not as talented as you. Even your 4th brother is a little different from you. If you can't achieve anything, it will be a waste of energy. It's meaningless. We'll talk about it in the future. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Xiaokei's expression and knew what he was thinking. Yi Xiaoluo was suitable, but now that Yi Xiaoluo was an emperor, it was more suitable for Yi Xiaokei to cultivate. I will work hard. This is not a tome, it's a divine tome. Father's body is unparalleled in the world. I can't embarrass him. Yi Xiaokei nodded. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He didn't want to hurt Yi Xiaokei. Some things couldn't be replicated. Other people who cultivated the Myriad Tao tome couldn't reach his level. His current body didn't only come from the Myriad Tao tome, it also came from the power of merit. It was the result of the integration of the power of merit and the Myriad Tao tome. It was the merit immortal body. Now, it should be called the immortal merit Tao body. Night Sorrow's doppelganger cultivated battle skills and studied the book while his original body cultivated. At the same time, He familiarized himself with the Heaven Wasteland Tower and used some of its abilities to help his cultivation. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.